The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a very somber Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. The passing yesterday of Valley native Jerry McGee, East Palestine resident. So good, not only to East Palestine, such a great ambassador to the entire Mahoning Valley. Jerry McGee passing away yesterday at the age of 77. On the line on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We welcome in on a somber note, unfortunately. We welcome in the guy from Mill Creek, Brian Tolnar, who joins us on this very somber day. Brian, how are you today, my friend?
Doing good, other than being pretty sad that we lost one of our good friends and a great person in the Mahoning Valley that was synonymous with, athletics and the game of golf. With Jerry's passing, it, certainly leaves a void, based on what he's done for our community over the past, 30, 40 plus years.
Four-time winner on the PGA Tour, but more importantly, what an ambassador to the game of golf around here, but also what an ambassador to local sports. He was a season ticket holder for YSU football. I know that he loved high school basketball. There was a time when he would go to 5 or 6 high school basketball games a week. I mean, he just absolutely loved this area and supporting the kids and of this area as well.
Yeah, there's going to be a big void. Just like you said, he was an avid fan of Youngstown State University. I don't think that I've gone to any women's basketball, men's basketball, football games down on campus and not ran into Jerry or saw him at one of those games. He was a huge supporter of Penguin athletics, big Steelers fan, big Penguins fan, Pirates fan. Just a great guy for sports. Made a lot of high school events. Was an honorary chairman to our AJGA event. Started that in 2017. Was always on site when we hosted our event and was available to the kids, giving autographs, speaking to the kids, doing interviews for the local media. Just a great guy to support the game of golf, the community, and as a whole, really promoted the Mahoning Valley and the Youngstown area in everything that he did. A total gentleman. My first run-ins with Jerry was when I was in probably 7th or 8th grade. He was the director of golf at Oak Tree Country Club in West Middlesex, PA. I had an uncle that was a member over there that would take me over, and it was at the time frame where Jerry was just getting ready to play the Senior PGA Tour, which is now the Champions Tour. And I would go over there, and we would watch him hit balls probably for hours on end. Never saw the guy miss-hit a shot. I mean, from a ball striking ability, a short game ability, watching him hit bunker shots, chip shots, and putting, just a phenomenal world-class guy. And, oh, by the way, probably one of the most humble individuals you'll ever meet. 4-time winner on the PGA Tour, Pensacola Open, the Philadelphia Classic, the Kemper Open and the Greater Hartford Open, and he also played on the 1977 Ryder Cup team, which was victorious for the United States. So when you have that background and you have all the accolades that come with it, and play 28 years on the PGA Tour and 10 plus years on the Champions or Senior PGA Tour, which was what it was called when he played, unbelievable career in what he was able to accomplish. He was the, I want to say, 56th or 57th player in the U.S. history to crack the $100,000 mark, which back in the 70s and 80s was a lot of money. His Kemper Open victory, he won a check of $63,000, which was the highest paid event on the PGA Tour. Now $63,000 is probably about 60th place in an event. So, it's hard to explain the body of work that he put forth and how humble he is and how down to earth. He would stop in the shop here 5-6 times a year to purchase YSU clothing or just to shoot the breeze about what was happening in the area with the game of golf and the events. He was at the Greatest Golfer finale every single year at the Lake Club, watching the players finish. Was always in the background. Like I said, very humble, very accommodating, very approachable, just a super nice guy. And I certainly feel bad for Jill, his wife, and his 2 kids, Mike and Michelle, and know all 3 of them, and Annika, we run into her at the PGA show every year, her and Mike. So, I mean, talk about a family and a great leader to that family. And, he's the epitome of what you want your kids to grow up as. I mean, very well-mannered, very soft-spoken, very humble. And it's something, obviously, of a father of a 6-year-old kid, if I can do what he did and have my kid turn out the way that his kids, turned out, I'm 100% for it, just because he was a great gentleman and a great person for the game of golf. I mean, the history goes on with him. Beyond the PGA Tour, he was the Tri-State Open champion when he was a member of the Tri-State. He was the Teacher of the Year for the Tri-State PGA section. He's been a member of the Northern Ohio PGA section for as long as I can remember. Played for Ohio State. Just with what he's done here at Mill Creek, and was very supportive of myself and my career, and Stacy Butler, our head professional, who worked for him as an intern at Oak Tree Country Club years back. We just had a great relationship with him. We've gone to lunch with him several times, and it's just fun to be around. And I know when we took him to lunch to ask him to be our honorary chairman for our event, it was without a doubt done. Absolutely, would love to do it for you. And he was around our event, ever since the inception in 2016. Whether, riding around watching the kids play and talking to the folks. I know Max Moldovan, who's playing at Ohio State, he helped him a little bit, with getting, situated from a practice regimen to be able to play at the collegiate level. And Max Moldovan won our event twice, and he's the number 1 man on the golf team at Ohio State. Really speaks highly of Jerry. Jerry did some things with some exemptions that the OHSAA wouldn't allow you to play outside when your season started. Him and Jack Nicklaus got together and wrote a symposium on, having these kids have 2 or 3 tournaments where they can go play at a national level in that season to be able to do that. So, I mean, he's done a lot for youth. He's done a lot for families and a lot for high school athletes to get them, where they are today. So, I mean, can't say enough about Jerry and what he's done for our area.
Brian Tilnar from Mill Creek joining us today on a really somber day around here, the passing of a Valley legend, Jerry McGee. And, you bring up Jack Nicklaus. I had the pleasure of having Jerry McGee on my program a few times when I was on terrestrial radio. He spoke so highly of Jack Nicklaus, had a good relationship with him. The first time he was in the Masters at Augusta after his first win on the PGA Tour, he talked about how nervous he was, and Jack Nicklaus was in his heyday at the time. And I still believe he's the greatest of all time, but that's another story for another time. And Jack Nicklaus walks up to him and says, Jerry, he says, don't be nervous. I mean, this is what you've worked for. Don't be nervous. And Jerry said as soon as he said that, he said calm, nerves were calm and everything was good. And he also Jerry had a wicked sense of humor because we spoke about when Mike married Annika Sorenstam, Jerry McGee said, "Well, hell, I'm no longer the best golfer in my family anymore," and we just shared a belly laugh of magnanimous proportions.
I'll tell you what, going back for me, 7th and 8th grade, and having him around or in the background, or just being able to have access to him, and being an assistant and a golf professional, here locally on 2 stints before moving to New York for 12 years and coming back, and being able to have him come over and tell stories. I was at George Bellino's, another great golf professional in our region. It was at Tippecanoe for a number of years. Him and Jerry were very, very good friends, went to Ohio State together. At his retirement, it was almost like one of those roasts from like the 50s and 60s with Dean Martin, with these two guys going back and forth. And it was fun to listen to the stories of, where their careers and their paths crossed at Ohio State, to what both of those guys did, on the golf course as club professionals, and the majors that they played in. I mean, the stories, just being able to listen to Jerry tell you about stories, and you're right, he has some zingers, and he is probably one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet, and one of the great storytellers of our game. But there's no doubt he's going to be, seriously missed in this area. And for him, he just moved down to Florida 3 weeks ago because he wanted to be close to his grandkids. Mike and Michelle both live in the Orlando area. So, to be close with them, I know Jill was flying back and forth a little bit. So, I mean, it was probably a big move for him because, like you said, he took in every YSU athletic game, football, basketball, Steelers games, the Lord just loved sports, was an avid sports fan. Just to, be able to go down there and see your grandparents, albeit for only 3 weeks, is, what you really, hang your heart on, to the point where, you wish you would have gotten a little bit more time to enjoy his grandkids. Being able to, obviously passing away at 77 is sort of a shocker, and, you just feel bad for the family, and, certainly our thoughts and prayers are with them. But, Jerry's body of work and his personality and his humility and humbleness make him, what I look at as the guy on the top shelf. I mean, certainly an icon in the Mahoning Valley, just a great leader, and certainly a legend. Someone that you wanted to pattern yourself after, the way he did things, the way he treated people, the way he interacted with people, just being observant and watching how he handled himself in and around people, and the accessibility that he has. I mean, let's face it, the guy's won multiple times on the PGA Tour. Doesn't have to be very accessible, but he is down to earth, is, me talking to you on the phone right now.
Brian Tolnar, before we let you go, and we're speaking with Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek on a very somber day in the Mahoning Valley, the passing of a sports legend in Jerry McGee. And, one of the things that I have often said, if someone makes it big in their profession, and Jerry McGee made it big. He played on the PGA Tour for a long, long time, until health problems caused him to quit the PGA Tour. I always want those athletes, or whoever makes it big in their profession, to give back to the community. And I think one of the reasons why we're celebrating his life right now is I cannot think of another athlete in the Mahoning Valley that has done more for the Mahoning Valley than Jerry McGee.
It goes across, the gamut of every sport, whether it's sponsoring events, whether it's being at events, whether it's going to be a guest speaker, whether it's going to be a tournament host, an honorary tournament host for the stuff that he did here at the Metro Parks. Just a fine human being across the board. And if you're a kid and you're a junior golfer, a high school golfer, if there's anybody that you're going to pattern yourself after, his body of work is definitely a blueprint for success. I mean, 28 years on the PGA Tour, 10-plus years on the Senior Champions Tour. I mean, that's a long time for any career. And to be able to sustain 28 years on the PGA Tour with Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Byron Nelson, Gene Littler, Dave Stockton, and Lee Trevino, and Gary Player, and the names that we're rattling off, is unbelievable, because there were some great players, and Jerry's right up there, no doubt about it.
Brian, always a pleasure to speak with you. Unfortunately, it was on a somber note this time, but we'll get back at it next Wednesday to talk some golf. By the way, Anthony and I were talking. I think it's time for us to bring our tips of the week back next week on the precipice of the Masters tournament.
You know what? I was thinking about that too. So it's definitely on the docket for next week. We'll start out slow and roll you back into the golf swing and get you practicing and playing better as we turn into this 2021 golf season. But definitely thoughts and prayers are out for Jerry McGee's family, Jill, Michelle, and Mike.
Absolutely, absolutely, Brian. Always a pleasure, sir. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
You got it. Have a great weekend.
You got it. Brian Solnar, he is our golf guru over at Mill Creek. The passing today of a legend, and look, I mean, DJ Yokley, who founded YSN, he flat out said one of the reasons why we have YSN, Mrs. McGee was his 5th grade teacher, and she lit a spark under DJ at that early of an age to want to accomplish something in this business, and this might be a big reason why YSN is in existence right now.
Yeah, and you might hear DJ talk on the Power Hour or talk during his games, and he gets, he blows things up and he over enthusiasms things, but when it's about real life and it's about things that really mean a lot to him off the air and everything, he does not over exaggerate when he says people meant what they meant to him. So he doesn't over-exaggerate when he says that Jeff McGee is a reason why YSN is what it is today. So you can take that to the bank. He's one of the pillars of YSN. He's one of the pillars of East Palestine. And if he didn't do what he did for the Valley, there's a good bet that YSN might not be as strong as it is right now.
I had so much fun when I was working over at, which is now 1390 The Gambler. I did a show from 3 to 6 and noon to 3. Every pick your poison, which 3 to 6 sometimes, and then I went to noon to 3. But I had so much fun over there, and one of the reasons why Jerry McGee had an open invite to come on the show anytime he wanted to. I met him years ago when I was fortunate enough to speak in front of the Curbstone coaches. And Jerry McGee was one of the first people to come up to me, and he said, I'm Jerry McGee. And I said, I know who you are. He says, I want to thank you for coming over. And we just, I always had a fun time talking with him. I always had a smile on my face talking to him. And I always pictured professional athletes or anyone who's really, really successful in their field give back to the community that they grew up in or give back to the community that they presently live in. Jerry McGee did that times 1 million. He, as far as I'm concerned, he is without question, he and Ed Moransky are the 2 giants from the Mahoning Valley that have given back X-fold to this area, and that's why I think he's going to be so sorely missed.
But he leaves a legacy that will not be missed, and that's one of the things that when you make an impact like he does, it's why you do it, because then when you leave this earth and it's your time to leave, you leave footprints for other people to pick up where you left off, and that's one of the things that made him so special, and it's why his legacy in the Valley will never really die.
By the way, it's opening day today in Major League Baseball, hence the reason why he's in his Royals gear. I'm in. I have Chief Wahoo on. Don't say anything. Yeah, don't say anything. The Indians will be playing today. The one team that will not be playing today, Mets and the Nationals. A little COVID outbreak by the Washington Nationals. There's a number of players that they haven't tested positive, but they were around someone who tested positive, hence the reason why the game is canceled today. There might be another cancellation tomorrow. What I understand, the players from the Nationals are going to the Players Association, the Players Union, trying to get everything up to speed so they can play this weekend. It is what it is, unfortunately. They're going to cancel today's game, and hopefully they'll be able to make that game up, whether it's this weekend or later in the season, but I'm hoping it's just a blip on the radar. All right, coming up on the show today, Sam Matthias, the softball coach of the United Eagles. He is set to call in. We're going to talk some softball with the head softball coach at United, Sam Matthias, and we'll hopefully get a hold of him, and we will have a little bit of fun with this opening day. And baseball and softball played yesterday. Track and field was also in the fold yesterday as well. I can tell you, I was at Canfield yesterday. Boy, was that place hopping!
You had the game?
We did have the game. It was
JV, right?
it was a freshman / JV game. The field was under the circumstances. The field was in really, really good shape. Speaking of field, he's on the field an awful lot. He is the head softball coach for the United Eagles. Sam Matthias joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, how are you today?
Oh, just wonderful. It looks like opening day for baseball is right where it's supposed to be with snow flying in areas. So,
yeah.
We can't complain, though. Last year at this time, we weren't having a season, so a little snow on April Fool's Day, I'll take it.
Mother Nature for the win, as we are going to say today. I wake up and there's a little bit of snow on the ground, and I'm like, all right, Mother Nature, you pulled a fast one on us. Hey, nobody's pulling a fast one on your softball team. I've said for years, your kids down in Hanoverton, country strong, they love to hit the softball around.
Absolutely. We've got a very good group this year. We're actually very young this year. We've only got 3 seniors. The rest of them are underclassmen, and 8 of them are sophomores and freshmen, so they've really never stepped onto a high school field. And we've started out really strong this year, and we're hoping for big things down here in United.
Yeah, and you guys are off to a 3-0 start with. Well, let's talk about the opening season win over Sebring. You coach girls basketball at Sebring, and then you get to open the season against Sebring with softball. What was that like for you to kind of flip the switch and then go play against Sebring, who you coached for the basketball season?
Well, it was a little challenging because 6 of my basketball players play on the softball team. So I know how hard those kids work. I know that they're not going to give up. And Sebring gave us a battle. They're a very nice team up there. We struggled hitting right off the bat being opening day. And I told my girls, I said, you're not going to make those girls quit over there because they play for me in basketball and they don't do that. And we were able to put things together and get a win there. But it was nice talking to the girls from Sebring after the game, telling them they did a good job. And I keep in contact with them throughout their season to see how they're doing up there as well.
Coach, was there any trash talking going on?
Well, I might have mentioned a couple things. The third baseman was one of my guards, and she made a couple of nice plays. And then when she didn't make a play, I might have said a couple things to her. But Delaney takes it very well. We had a good time with each other.
You weren't basically telling the kids suicides will be doubled when the first practice comes around later in the year, did you?
No, not at all. I mean, it was a good game for both of us to get out there. Sebring was supposed to play Campbell, and they ended up with some COVID cases and couldn't play that day. So we were lucky enough to open up our season a little bit earlier and get on the field. It was a great day for softball. So, those kids are great kids. I enjoy those kids up there, and right now I'm enjoying our kids just tremendously right now.
You opened the EOAC season with a sweep of East Palestine, 2 dramatically different games. The first game in East Palestine, you guys had to kind of come back from a deficit. You were down 13-7 in the top of the 7th. You battled around and ended up winning 14-13. Then in the second game, 13-1. I mean, Torrey Firth pitched really well in the circle in that second game, 7 strikeouts and 5 innings pitched. Talk about the adjustments that were made between Game 1 and Game 2 and how nice it is to get off to a 2-0 start in the conference.
Well, it's great to keep control of your own destiny being undefeated in the conference. We have high hopes that we can compete for a league title this year. We know it's going to be very challenging with what Columbiana and Lisbon are bringing back, but it's just one day at a time for us. the first league game there, we didn't play stellar softball. We made some miscues that we shouldn't have, and some timely hitting by East Palestine. They're a very gutsy team. They didn't give up when we got up on them early. They came fighting back, and then I got to give all the credit to my girls being down 6 runs in the top of the 7th inning. And the last thing I told them before I walked out to third base was, we've got to bat around a couple times, ladies. That's all I can tell you. And they took one at bat at a time, and we just kept pushing and pushing, and we're lucky enough to escape there with a win. And I think it was a wake-up call for some of our girls going into Game 2 there, that Palestine just wasn't going to roll over and let us win. So the second game, I mean, it was the most focused defensively, offensively. We have played all season long. Even in our scrimmages, we had ups and downs, some peaks and valleys there. But we always want to make those valleys as little or as short as possible and get to those peaks and ride those out as long as we can.
United head softball coach Sam Mathias joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Coach, you made mention that you have a lot of sophomores and freshmen on your team, and I bring this up because last year there was no spring sports. So the last time you had spring sports, the sophomores and freshmen were both in junior high. That's quite an adjustment to make to go right into high school softball.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're used to playing on teams that are your own age level coming up through, and now you're thrown into playing against 17, 18-year-old girls that possibly have played either a lot of travel ball or have 2 or 3 years of high school ball underneath their backs there. But, I mean, these girls, especially the freshmen, they come in and they're very focused. They're very athletic. They are doing a nice job of pushing the team forward to where there's competition every day in our practices, in our games. The 3 games that we've already talked about, I've had 3 different starting lineups each day because the 14 girls that we have, they're all great kids. They all work hard. They all do something different for us. And it's just nice to know that if somebody gets hurt or somebody gets sick or whatever happens down the line, we can just plug the next piece in and move on. And there's really no, down in that position, we got somebody else to fill it in, and there's nobody on this squad that is nailed into one spot. They know that they can play multiple spots, and I mean, that really helps us out.
Let's talk about the fittingly named Bash sisters that you call Savannah and Colby Burton, who are just off to a great offensive start. Talk about what they bring to your lineup and how well they're hitting right now.
Well, first, before we start about them, I got to give all the credit with the hitting stuff to Matt Zines, who's been helping us out. His daughter's a freshman for us this year, but he helped us last year when we started to get into softball with hitting. The guy's a wealth of knowledge. I couldn't ask for anybody else better on our staff with what he has done. And the kids have bought into every little drill that he has taught them in the last 2 years, and it's carried over into our games this year. And Savannah and Colby are 2 of the ones where when they were younger, you could always see the potential in them, but we just couldn't get them to fire. And he's found a way to get them to fire right now. Savannah, probably one of the best senior leaders you'll ever want to have. She shows up every day, and it doesn't matter where you put her on the field, whether she's catching one day, playing third the next, in the outfield the third day, she's going to play hard for you. She swings the bat just, I mean, I get scared sometimes down at third base that it's going to come rocking it at me and it's going to hurt when it hits me. But she's just a great kid to be around, 3-sport athlete. You couldn't ask for a better kid. And then Colby is kind of the opposite. She's just like a quiet kid that goes about her job and does it. But, I mean, her hitting this year, she is just hitting monstrous shots, really timing up the ball, centered it up really well. And it's kind of nice to have 2 sisters on the team that are doing that. And they kind of laughed at the article the other day when I did mention them as the Bash sisters. I'm like, well, let's ride it out. It'll give them something to talk about in the papers.
United head softball coach Sam Mathias joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Coach, I know you got to go back to teaching, which is a big thing, doing the duty there. But before we let you go, let's handicap the EOAC. This is a good division. You got some really, really good softball teams. Columbiana is obviously a traditionally strong team year in, year out. Other than Columbiana, give us some of the teams that you're going to be super focused on in this very, very competitive league of yours?
Well, I mean, we're focused on every team. There's not one team that I'm going to say is that much better than the other ones. Columbiana, by far, on paper, is the league favorite, but we don't play them till the end of the season, so we're trying to get better getting into that. Right now, we play Lisbon Monday and Tuesday, and we're just trying to get better for Monday and the next few practices because Lisbon's going to be right up there as well. Dave's got some nice pitchers over there, some hitters that are coming back from 2 years ago that can really pound the ball and put a lot of pressure on you. So I think those are your top two teams right there, and it's just going to come down to how they play each other, if they split or somebody sweeps, and maybe how we play each one of those teams. But the other ones are no slouches. Like I said, East Palestine was a very good team that just fought hard. They're young, but they fought hard both games against us. We haven't seen anything on Southern because they didn't get to open up in league play yet, but Wellsville and Leetonia, they kind of had a tough go of it there, playing the top two teams in the league right off the bat. But there's no easy day. I mean, you make 2 or 3 errors in a game, and anybody can come up and bite you. So we're just working each day to try to have as clean of a game as possible and hit the ball as far as we can each time.
All right, before we let you go, again, I know Ron just said that, but you talked about Savannah. Can you just give a spotlight to your other two seniors and what they bring to the program?
Absolutely. Cassidy Everhart, she's going to be a 4-year letter winner for us this year. A great kid. I mean, she's always got a smile on her face, always encouraging the other kids. You can't say enough about her. She's playing third for us. She's been doing a little bit DP this year as well. And Madison Boyle, who's been playing outfield for us, she'll be a 3-year starter for us. Again, another nice kid. She is just so quick and anticipates the ball so well in the outfield. It's very nice to have her covering ground out there. And she's quick and very aggressive on the base paths, which is nice to see. It gives a good example for our younger kids. But the 3 of them, they're great. I mean, I cannot say enough about them. You couldn't ask for 3 better seniors to be leaders for this young group this year.
Coach, I got to ask out of curiosity, what do you teach? What subject do you teach?
I teach history and English. I actually teach in a juvenile detention center, so I get the good kids. But yeah, it's fun times. I like enjoying these kids. They don't like school per se when they come in here, but we try to find some good things that they like to do and build upon that, and try to get them the best education they can while we have them.
That is yeoman's work, and we definitely appreciate the people that can do that because I think it takes a special person. And we definitely thank you for doing that, and we thank you for coaching not just your basketball team but your softball team as well. That's a lot of time that you put into these athletes.
Well, I got great help with me. Like I mentioned already, Coach Zines does a great job with our hitters. My assistant coach, Aaron Bryceland, does an amazing job with our pitching staff and our catchers, and she's a former United player there. So just like me graduating from United, she has the same passion into it of wanting to see this thing succeed and build upon it there. And just like our basketball team that did so well for the girls, our community members are just coming out. We had our first home game Tuesday, and it seemed packed out there, and the energy was great. So it's not just me. I got a bunch of great people around me that are helping these kids, and we're just going to keep moving forward one day at a time.
Well, Coach, as a Leetonia graduate, I understand all too well about the small town backing, and it is United is one of those special places in Columbiana County. I love the people down there, love the school district. You guys do it right down there. You support your kids the right way, and all the respect in the world for your program.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We work hard down there, and hopefully we get the results that we want at the end of the season.
All right, Coach. Best of luck to you the rest of the year, sir.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
You as well. Sam Mathias, the head softball coach, who is also the basketball coach for Sebring. He is the softball coach for his alumni United local.
And he also spent time, I think 4 years as the head girls coach at United. So he's been in both. He had some wonderful success with the United girls. He was part of that run where they won 5 straight league championships, won a couple of district championships. So he's had success at basketball for United. He's had success at basketball for Sebring. And now a 3-0 start for the United softball team. And they've scored 39 runs in 3 games, so they can definitely hit the ball.
13 runs a game. That's solid. Yeah, that's some solid baseball coming out of softball coming out of United. Wow, that's good stuff. All right, we'll take a timeout. On the other side, we'll take some phone calls. It is opening day. Predictions are more than welcome. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. Stick around.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. Anthony, you got some news over there.
Well, first, I do want to go across some scores from last night, because although a lot of games got canceled, we did get some local baseball, softball in.
Yes.
And some interesting scores, too. Alliance finally earning the win because they pitched so well in their first 3 games, couldn't get a win. They split with West Branch 5-4 in baseball action last night.
Yeah, they got a walk-off in the bottom of the 7th inning. They scored a run, broke the 4-4 tie, get their first win of the year.
So how about that, a walk-off for your first win? Not good for the YSN school, of course, in West Branch, but you know, with a team as talented as Alliance, we definitely wish them the best. Salem 11-0 over Minerva to sweep the series with the Lions. How about Gavin Wilms? 5 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts. Talk about not letting your defense play at all.
Yeah, he this was his first varsity start from what I understand. He's just a sophomore. It was his varsity debut, 5 scoreless innings. Salem rolls past Minerva 11-0, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts. And oh, by the way, he also had a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs.
Yeah, he went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs at the plate. So I think it's safe to say that he won the player of the game.
Yeah,
I think that's
pretty safe to say about that one, yeah.
And softball, the Bray beat Bristol 4-2, and the highlight of that one was Desi Allen for the Vikings. She went 7 innings pitched, gave up 2 runs, 2 hits, and had 8 strikeouts. So a good game for her and the Vikings as they beat non-conference for Bristol 4-2.
Hey, by the way, going back to that Alliance game, Ryan Bruni had 2 hits and 2 RBI for the Aviators. Nick Wilson apparently a double, a single, 2 runs scored. Tanner Egley 2 hits, 2 RBI for West Branch in the loss.
Champion got things rolling in the MVAC. We saw them lose twice over the weekend, not losing to Newton Falls. 13-0, they shut out the Tigers. Cassidy Schaefer went the full 7 innings, only gave up 2 hits, and she struck out 4. So not exactly the strikeout pitcher, at least from that stat line that you would get from Sophie Howell and Allison Smith, but doing the job, not giving up runs.
Look, Champions, it's not going to be easy for Champion this year. We don't have a completely loaded. There is no question in our mind they're the Division III softball champions. It's not going to be that easy for Champion.
They're still the favorites. It's not going to be. They're not going to give up a run the whole tournament.
Yeah, this isn't a coronation from the beginning of the year like 2019 or what we thought was going to be 2020, because a lot of people were saying that might have been Champion's best team.
I think it was. I mean, when you don't give up a run, your whole tournament run all the way up to the state championship, 0 runs given up.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I would wager that's never been done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were a lot of people that said that the 2020 team was going to be the best team on paper.
With them on as seniors.
Yeah.
Probably.
But we're never going to know. But I mean, I think for everyone to sit back and say, "Oh, Champion, they're off to a slow start," this isn't a no-brainer. Put as much money on this as humanly possible, because it's not going to lose, even though we don't encourage high school gambling. But you know what I mean.
Skittles.
This is not a no-brainer state championship team.
Don't put any Skittles on.
Yeah, whatever. They're going to work. They're going to have to seriously work to get a state championship.
They're also dealing with the same thing everyone else is dealing with having no experience and having even your seniors be sophomores. The last time they stepped on the field as a champion, Golden Flash. So although a lot of their players played travel ball, it's different. You know, you're putting on your high school uniform. Coach Cheryl Weaver has her own standards, her own expectations that they have to kind of get back into the groove with. So your sophomores and your freshmen haven't played at all. So they're dealing with the same growing pains that everyone else is, and that's why we saw them lose to 2 really tough teams over the weekend. Competitive games, 8-5 over
Willoughby, wasn't it?
Willoughby South, good job, and Perry beat them on a walk-off 4-3. That's like if you're playing well in May and you have 2 losses to 2 good teams to open the season, that's water off the Ducks' back.
I would want to play Champion now. If I were in the MVAC gray tier, I would want to play Champion right now, because I would not want to play Champion late in the season, because that's when that train is going to start rolling. Get the train while it's not coming out of the station right now, before the train starts rolling down the track and you got no shot whatsoever at this team.
Now, here's what I've been informed of while we were on break and while we were talking to Sam Messias. I got some text. A lot of games today are going to be canceled in the area. We know that because it's 30 degrees and snow is on the ground.
Atta girl, Mother Nature, way to get us.
Hubbard does not have to deal with snow because they are in Tennessee. Now, normally you would say, whoa, wait a minute. Hubbard is not off school, so how are they making this trip? Well, according to Jamie Thompson, who does a really good job covering Hubbard baseball and softball for us, and we saw him cover Springfield football and do great calls for the state championship, he says that this trip is fine because that rule from the OHSAA has been repealed. Someone sued the OHSAA, and that rule that you can't leave out of the state when you're in session has been repealed. Which, to me, I'm saying about time, because every state around Ohio doesn't have that rule. So I never really understood why Ohio has this rule where you can't leave the state.
Well,
when everyone else could, and
yeah.
so
Let me.
So
just,
Hubbard is playing in Tennessee tonight against Central Magnet at 4:00. So
let me
5 games over the weekend.
Let me just say, just because the states around Ohio were wrong doesn't mean that you can join in on being wrong. This is wrong. You're in school for a reason. Your sports is secondary to your education. I don't like the repeal of this in any way, shape, or form. You don't play sports without an education first. When you're away from school, if you're on Easter break, go anywhere you want to play your
How is this
play your
different than a
tournaments.
field trip, Ron?
This is different from a field trip in
You
that
take your
a
kids
field
to go watch a play. I've been to plenty plays. I've been to
a
plenty.
field trip is not past a day. I mean,
You lose
unless
a day of school when you go on a field trip.
Well,
because even if you come back, the teachers are like, "Well, you've been gone. You know, we're just gonna have a study hall today." Like I've been to high school, and I know you have too. But when we go on a field trip, we go to a play or we go to actually.
Yeah, but you're going back
You know what I'm
into your
saying?
school the same day.
You go back into your school, but the teachers are like, "Well, we'll just have a study hall today because you missed." It's 2:00 by the time you get back. We're the only class you have.
I get that.
You're missing one day to go, and you're off tomorrow because it's Good Friday.
Yeah.
I guarantee teachers didn't have too much planned for today because it's the day before break. So you're not going to teach anything because if you teach it today, kids are going to forget about it by the time they get back to school.
Well, that's why you have a test for the day.
So
that's what I would have done.
And honestly, in today's day and age, there's a lot of virtual learning.
I get that.
So
it's a little bit different now because schools are not in session. Some schools are, and I get it. I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of going somewhere when school is in session, unless it's a field trip. I'm not a fan of it. But again, it's 6 1, half dozen of the other.
And then it also lets we talked about this. It lets teams go to Pennsylvania on a day where they technically are in school. They can leave school a half an hour early and go over to Pennsylvania to play a softball, baseball game.
Yeah, but do you really have to? Do you really have to leave a half an hour early if you're in Hubbard? You're 2 miles from the border.
No, but in some schools in Ohio, you would. If you're up in Akron, if you're let's say Massillon Jackson, I'm just throwing out a team, wants to go play some team in Pennsylvania, which is only 2 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
They can leave school at 2:30 or 2:00 and now go to Pennsylvania because that rule doesn't exist anymore. Get to that game by 5:00, play that game.
Yeah, here's an idea: play that game on Saturday. Why not? You're not. There's no rule that says you can't play that game on Saturday.
Okay, the other team doesn't have the open dates on Saturday. If you want to play them, you have to play them during the week. They have an open slot because of weather. Hey, you want to come play us? Hey, that would really be good for our softball, baseball team. Let's do. Oh wait, we can't because we can't leave school a half an hour early to come to Pennsylvania. Now you can.
Okay, I get that, but you're leaving school a half an hour early, which means you were in school during the day. These guys aren't in school; they're in Tennessee. So, I'm just.
But the rule says you can't do it. So the rule's been repealed. So now
the rule's been repealed
now
because
you can't even do that.
The rule's been repealed because somebody put sports in front of education. That pisses me off.
Well, you're gonna say I have to be the ticked off little boy.
Okay, that's great, except for the fact that you've put sports in front of education, which is absurd. The reason why you're playing sports is because you're going to school first.
Not in today's day, when you have all the virtual learning and you have all the opportunities to have what you missed. In today's day, you're not losing anything by missing a day of school to go to Tennessee to play a baseball game.
Now, what part of Tennessee are they in, by the way?
I don't know. He just told me they were in Tennessee, and they're playing Central Magnet tonight at 4:00, and they have 5 games between today, and then obviously they'll be back in to play Niles on Monday.
I'm gonna guess that they're in the eastern part of Tennessee because it sounds like Central Magnet, and I might be wrong on this That is a school outside of Knoxville, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it might be. They might be. I mean, they're playing multiple teams. They're playing different team every time.
All right. Well,
so,
I mean, this will be a great experience, and again, I don't have a problem with it. You know, if your team's on vacation or if your school is on vacation, I got no problems with it.
Their schedule is Central Magnet tonight at 4, and then it's a doubleheader, so they'll play Edgeville after that game at 6. Tomorrow they play Grundy County at 2, and then they'll play Sequatchie County. Sequatchie County.
Okay.
Don't know how to pronounce that Tennessee name, but Sequatchie County at 4, and then on Saturday they have a game against Madison at 9 a.m.
All right.
And then obviously they're off for Easter. They'll be back, and they'll play Niles, get back to NE8 play on Monday versus Niles, and then at Niles on Tuesday.
Cool. There you go.
Hubbard is 1-1 with the split over Jefferson, so they're taking that 1-1 record to Tennessee on Rocky Top.
There you go. I believe they're going to Knoxville. I might be wrong on that, but in that area, Knoxville, Sevierville, that corridor of Tennessee. I might be wrong on that though, but it sounds like I haven't been to Tennessee. I haven't been back to Tennessee in about 13 years, but I believe that school is outside of Knoxville, but I'm not 100% sure. So good for them. It's a good trip. I just, like I said, if it were on spring break, that would be great. I'm just throwing it out there.
South Range softball and baseball are going on Myrtle Beach trip during
there
the
you
spring
go.
break. So that'll make you happy. And Jeff DeRose is going to call in sometime today. He couldn't knock down a time, but he said that he would have some time at some point, hopefully. So hopefully we'll get a text from Jeff DeRose and he'll be able to call in and talk about South Range softball.
Good. Yeah, I mean, go outside the state to take on some of the other softball and baseball programs out of state during spring break. Yeah, that's good stuff. You get to go up against some really interesting competition because the folks in the South. I know this sounds like a broken record, but their weather is so much better. They're able to play baseball and softball a lot longer. Doesn't mean the talent is any better, but they're able to play because the weather is so much better down there. They're able to play a little bit longer. Their season can last a little bit longer than it is up north. So,
and that's why you see in Georgia, the softball season is actually a fall sport because they can. They have the weather to do it.
And there's no reason for it.
Then again, in Colorado, it's also a fall sport, which they don't have the weather.
Well,
so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to have it as a fall sport. I mean, you would think in Colorado, you start in March, you're going to be pretty deep in snow.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have to get your season into October, you're probably going to be pretty deep in snow too.
Yeah, I mean, it's hit and miss.
Especially
October to April is hit and miss.
Especially in like the Denver suburb area, you know, Littleton and Aurora and all those places. You're probably hammered with snow not hammered, but you probably have snow by October.
I mean, it's hit and miss. It's much like this area around February and March. So, we might get snow. Now that's not surprising.
That's not surprising. We're in the mountains.
We might be 70 degrees. Well, that's not surprising either. It's just one of those little weird parts of the country where you, much like in the state of Ohio, you can turn your air conditioning and your furnace on in the same day. Yeah, Ohio is pretty special that way.
Who knew?
Yeah. All right, so it's good to see the kids going out of state and checking out the different teams and the competition in those states. That's it's pretty cool. I'd love to see some of the football teams from down there come up on a weekend to play football, but I mean that would go into a whole lot of money and whatnot. But as much, and I think it's been in the last 30 years or so, which probably is coincidental or falls into this into the area of the steel mills pretty much dying up here, and a lot of people moving south where there's a lot more jobs available. High school football in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, oh man, that has gotten really, really good. And Florida has always been good, but the states, to the south of us, the high school football has gotten really good because a lot of people have decided to move down there because there's more jobs available.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah, it's love to see some of those schools come up here to have some of those schools play some of our schools up here. But
sometimes that happens with Mooney. They get some teams that come out from. Really, they get the travel all-star teams. Mooney and Ursuline get the Lion Academy or something like that. That basically, it's a team that it's almost pretty much an all-star team that just travels and plays different teams around the country.
Yeah, it's.
And then didn't Mooney play a team from Canada not too long ago?
Yes. Yeah.
So some teams travel to play the Moonies and the Ursulines, but it'd be nice to see some other schools venture into the other states and get their teeth sharpened by some other states.
It's a lot of money.
I know.
That's an awful lot of money, and it's probably the big reason why they don't do it, because it's
all you need is one booster.
Yeah. One booster will do it, indeed. All right, it is opening day around Major League Baseball. I mean, except for the New York Mets and the Washington Nationals, who will not be playing today, may not be playing tomorrow as well.
Speak for all Cleveland fans when I say, suck it, Francisco Lindor. You have to wait to start this baseball season.
Well, but he got paid, though.
He got paid.
Yeah,
but he still has to wait.
He did get paid. The New York Mets and Francisco Lindor came together on a 10-year deal where Lindor is going to be $341. Did I read that right? $341 or $351?
So it was MVP caliber money.
Yeah. Yeah. So
which he has not won one.
No, he has not won an MVP yet, but apparently they
think he will.
They believe that he's ready to go. 10-year, $341 million deal. By the way, that contract does not start until 2022. So Lindor will be 27 years of age when that contract starts. That contract will be up when he is 36. So the Mets will probably hate life the final 2 or 3 years of that contract.
Probably.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like we said, the opening day postponed with the Mets and the Nationals, COVID-19 protocols. We cannot tell you who the players are. I can tell you, though, from someone that I spoke to, that there are 4 or 5 players that have not tested positive for it.
Would you call that a reliable source?
Very reliable.
Reliable sources?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. We got this here at YSC.
I see what you did. There's 4 or 5 guys that have not tested positive, but they were hanging around someone that ultimately tested positive. So from what I understand, they're already trying to get to the Players Association to say, hey, this is BS.
They're going to cancel the series or work to play tomorrow.
Yeah, let's just get this thing going tomorrow and let's do a 3-game series. And even if they miss the game and just decide, hey, we're going to go a 2-game series instead of a 3-game series, then make it up during the next time the Mets go in, the next time the Mets go into Washington, make it up then. But it would appear that they'll play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if the Players Association gets their way.
And the other thing is, as much as you hate the new doubleheader rule, they obviously put that there because they expected to play more doubleheaders this year. So the MLB put things in place to play more doubleheaders in a normal year. So we might be seeing, because of this type of situations, we might be seeing a lot more doubleheaders this season than we're normally going to see.
Yeah, I'm going to be real curious to see how they do this. I mean, you could put a single game on Friday, single game on Saturday, single game on Sunday, because today I think all but 6 teams are all but. Let me think about this for a second. I think there's 6 games on the docket for Friday, so that means 12 teams are going to be in action on Friday. The other 20 teams are not going to be playing on Friday, where they're going to go Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So, I mean, could you play a single game Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Well, yeah. Why not? I mean,
All right, so the Friday games are Baltimore and Boston, Tampa Bay and Miami, Los Angeles, Colorado, Chicago, Los Angeles Angels, Astros, A's, and D-backs, Padres, and Giants, Mariners.
Okay, so there's 7 games.
Those will all be game 2s, too. So
yeah.
All those teams are playing on Thursday.
Yeah, because everyone's playing today with the exception of the Mets and Washington. Right. I mean, I don't know. I think they can go single games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then you don't have to worry about playing a doubleheader. But we'll see what Major League Baseball does. Hell, this whole series might get canceled depending on what direction they want to go with this. And we'll see what happens.
Indians play the Tigers in about 9 minutes.
Yes.
At 1:10.
Yes, the Indians are in action against the Tigers. The Indians lineup. I had it. Let me go here with it. The Indians starting lineup. Jordan Luplow is going to lead off. He's playing in center field today. Cesar Hernandez is hitting second, playing second. Jose Ramirez will hit third and play third. Eddie Rosario is batting cleanup in left field. Franmil Reyes is in the 5-hole as the DH. Josh Naylor is the right fielder hitting sixth. Yu Chang is going to play first base today. He's hitting seventh. Roberto Perez is catching and hitting eighth. Andres Jimenez is the shortstop batting ninth. Interestingly enough, no Jake Bowers because he's left-handed hitter. The Tigers are going with a left-handed pitcher. So you're going to see a first base platoon for the time being. And you're going to see a center field platoon as well. Ahmad Rosario is a left-handed hitter. Jordan Luplow is a right-handed hitter. Luplow destroys lefties, or at least he has in his career. And I think he's hitting well over 300 against the starting pitcher for the Tigers today. So that's one of the reasons why Tito has Luplow hit leading off. We'll see if it pays off today.
Best day in sports for some, and opening day. It just feels a little bit different than open days in the past for some reason.
Yeah, it does. No, I think it does. But I think that can we say that we're more grateful this year than in previous years, based on...
We've definitely felt that for the spring sports in high school, and I think we feel that for baseball too, because we had a season last year, but it wasn't anywhere close to normal. I mean, it was 60 games, and it was fun. It was definitely fun to watch, but it wasn't normal. And now we have a normal season.
And I think we could say the same thing for the Summer League with B League in Youngstown. It wasn't normal. I mean, we didn't have the NABF World Series, which we normally have. We didn't have tournaments, a lot of tournaments coming into scene, which we normally have. So,
and we also scrunched a lot of games into a small area. So we had games literally every night, 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, and it's just going to be, I think it's going to be a whole lot more gratifying to watch Major League Baseball this year, and just to watch, I don't know about you, but I'm a hell of a lot more gratifying to watch and umpire games this year. It just, last year when we didn't have any high school sports, man, that sucked. It really did, and
I think what really sucked about it was like the slow burn. Like I said, it's easy to. It's opposite. It's easy to shut down pro sports, hard to bring them back up, and it's really hard to shut down youth and high school sports and easy to start them back up. So we saw that in March where we were like, okay, we're off for 2 weeks. Okay, we're going to be off for the month. Okay, we're going to be off for maybe a month and maybe one more week. And we kept holding on to hope that there'd be some kind of sport in the spring season. And they finally, after like a month and a half of waiting, they finally just said, not going to have a season. And they can't do what they did in the NBA and just be like, we're done. So it's harder to shut down. And then we saw in the summer, a lot easier to get youth sports back going.
Sure.
Than it is, there's so many logistics in the pro sports. So it was a slow burn, which made it kind of hurt even more. Because we were still having a little bit of hope, even though we knew there was a low chance that we'd have a spring sports season. And then when that hammer finally did come down, it was like, dang, we've been holding on for about a month and a half.
Yeah, and the hammer kind of dropped on us in the fall with the football season and the fall sports being
that was
cut in half.
The first, but at least we were going to have them. I mean, we didn't have sports for let's say basketball probably got shut down right in the start of March with the spring tournaments, and then until August we didn't have any sports. So when we finally got that green light on football and volleyball and everything else, we were like, party!
It kind of, as we go further and further into this, and obviously right now, we don't have a huge problem with any of the spring sports. Right now, everything seems to be motoring along at a pretty nice clip, and hopefully we won't have a problem for spring sports.
Well, we finally got to the point where we realized that missing one game or missing 1 or 2 games because of COVID or because one team has a little bit of an outbreak isn't the end of the world, and it isn't a reason to shut down the whole sports system.
Yeah.
And we've gotten to that point, and that's why we keep trucking along in all the sports that we've had the opportunity to play so far.
Do you think we get back to normal in the fall, which means...
What do you mean by normal?
Normal is now defined as a 10-game season and go to what the OHSAA wanted us to do and have said that their plan is to go top 12 teams in each region, and we have an extra week of high school football.
I see no reason why not. I mean, basketball had a complete season. Softball and baseball have a complete season. Football, there's no reason why you should have to shorten that season. So
I'm wondering if
there's still going to be limited capacity. You're not going to get full crowds because I don't think we're going to be there yet. Masks are going to probably still be required. So that's not going to be normal, but I do think we're going to be having a normal football season.
I'm wondering if the OHSAA saw what transpired this year and said, if we
made a lot of money off these playoff games.
If we can sit back and say, let's play 8 regular season games, invite the whole state to play in the playoffs, this could really work out for us. I gotta believe there is a tempting thought of that.
I don't know if they could do 8. I mean, they barely got in with 6 regular season games, and then they have to have the extra 4 or 5 weeks for playoffs when everyone gets in.
Yeah, but we were done by Thanksgiving, and there was a perfect seam of you're going to go from football to basketball, where normally you play until the first week of December or the second week of December if you're a state championship team. So you could say, hey, we're going to play 8 games and then have an entire 6 weeks worth of playoff or 7 weeks worth of playoffs and still be in that time frame. I mean, it would be interesting. I gotta believe there are some people in Columbus wondering if that's how they want to do things now.
I want to get football back to the playoff system, where you get in based on your regular season.
I agree with you. Yeah.
I think it's the one sport where not everyone should get into the tournament.
I agree.
So I hope it doesn't go back to that. I hope football keeps their playoff system. 12 is fine. I'm fine with 12. Because I think every year there are maybe 2 or 3 teams that probably deserve to get into the playoffs that don't. But I don't want to see everybody in the football playoff.
Yeah, it was fun. It was certainly different, and it made last year kind of fun to watch.
But we didn't see anything that really surprised us. I mean, by the regionals, everyone that was supposed to be there was there anyway.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's like, I get it. Like every team has a champ, but in football, if you're physically bigger and stronger, you're gonna win the game. It's just. It's not like basketball where you can just have a good night shooting and beat a team.
It kind of reminded me of what we would normally see historically in the NCAA basketball tournament. Oh, we got a couple of surprises here, but at the end of the day, the blue blood teams are there, and let's have some fun here. Except for this year, because you have Gonzaga, and then you have Baylor, which were the two teams that everyone thought was going to be into this. And then you have two teams
UCLA,
that you really didn't think too much about.
How about that? Like, the big story has been, the Blue Buds this year aren't really doing anything in basketball. The Kentucky's stunk.
Yeah.
Duke stunk.
Yeah.
We thought UCLA was off the map. And here comes UCLA, a blue blood basketball program that has, 11 national championships to its credit in the Final Four.
Yeah.
It's an 11th seed.
And we'll see what they can do against Gonzaga. We'll see. I don't think Gonzaga wins the national championship. I just don't. I hope I'm wrong on that, because it would be cool to see Gonzaga do what Indiana did.
And it would
the
be
last time someone went undefeated.
We would make the last two times that someone went undefeated. It would be the two times that Kentucky and Duke weren't in the tournament.
This is true.
That's the formula right there.
There you go. There you go. Speaking of college basketball, Roy Williams, and this is not an April Fool's Day joke, by the way. Roy Williams retiring as the head basketball coach of the University of North Carolina.
You could tell on the sidelines this year he was starting to get to his wits' end. Like, he wasn't having the same fun that he usually exudes. He's usually a really, like, Coach K is more reserved. Yeah, but Roy Williams is more of a very energetic guy on the sidelines, likes to have fun, likes to dance in the locker room when his team wins. You didn't see a lot of that this year. And his team didn't have a good season as far as Carolina standards go, but they still made the tournament.
Yeah.
They were still a decent basketball team, and they were still one of the top 64 teams in the country. And he just... When I didn't watch every game, I'm not liking that. But when the times that I did watch Carolina, you just saw him on the sidelines, like, doing this, kind of. He just didn't seem like he was as into it as he normally is. And that's obviously why he's going to walk away. Because when you love the game as much as he obviously does, I think there are indicators that tell you it's time to walk away.
Yeah. It's with anything. If you're not 100% in,
right,
then it's time for you to walk out. It's time for you to walk away from whatever you're doing.
And how about trying to replace that? I mean, you've had Dean Smith and Roy Williams.
Oof.
And that's been Carolina basketball.
Yeah.
And now someone's got to take a step into that shoe.
I mean, do you hire within the family?
I got to think you do. You got to take one of his assistants that he's probably been grooming for a while, and put him in that spot. Just like.
The assistants might be old, though.
when Pat Summitt left Tennessee, they put one of her assistants in there because there's no one else that you can really trust to come in and carry that mantle than someone that has been with them and understands the standard. So one of his assistants, one of his former players, someone from his coaching tree probably gets that job.
Well, let me tell you, you want to talk about someone who
we said it
has all the respect in the world in the state of Tennessee. That would be Pat Summitt. Yeah. Oh man, she was beloved in that state.
Probably
crazy beloved.
Probably the only Power 5 court that's named after the women's coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
they play on the Summit.
Yep.
So,
Pat Summitt Court. Yeah, that's
it's probably also like their women's basketball players are superstars down there.
Oh yeah.
Even now, they have a campus store that's dedicated to their women's basketball team. You don't see that anywhere else. Maybe UConn, where their girls team is like superstars, and the boys team is, I don't want to say second fiddle, but they
are.
They are.
No, they are second fiddle. They sell the place out for girls basketball, women's basketball at Tennessee.
They do, and they probably do at UConn too. And even though the UConn boys, men's, I should say, have won national championships and they've been good programs, they don't have the same cachet and the same kind of weights that UConn women's basketball has.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. It's passing yesterday of an absolute legend in the Mahoning Valley. With Jerry McGee passing away, we had Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek on to talk about the legacy that Jerry McGee has left the area. And as I made mention, other than Ed Moransky, there is not another person who made it big in their profession who has given more back to the Mahoning Valley than Jerry McGee. And I think that's going to be the lasting impression, which the footprints, as you made mention, Anthony, that he has left this area. And man, he is the exact definition of give it back to the community, pay it forward to the community, and boy, did he do that. That's the legacy of Jerry McGee for me, is he paid it forward to the Mahoning Valley, and just a tremendous human being. We lost him too soon, unfortunately.
One of those people that proves you can always go back home, and you always remember where you came from, and he obviously believed in that full bore, and gave back to the place that he came, even though he went so many places in his career. So many, he reached for the stars, he got to the space, he got to the Masters, he got to Augusta. It never changed where he came from, and he proved that.
Yeah, and what he did for the game of golf around here is just absolutely incredible. He'll definitely be missed. There's no two ways about that. He will definitely be missed. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. I feel like we got to lighten things up a little bit. So, in honor of April Fool's Day, we got to throw out.
What we should have done? We should have opened if it wasn't on such a somber note, which, we should have opened the show with me over there and you over here.
Yeah, there you go. We got to talk about April Fool's Day gags that we might have done or could have some fun with. We can talk a little bit about that. That's coming up in a bit. It is a Thursday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
The 2021 Auto Show must go on.
Exclusively at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Save more during the Extra Mile Auto Show with employee pricing for everyone on some of our most popular models. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on the value of your trade. Schedule a test drive today to experience the 2021 lineup for yourself.
Visit GreenwoodAutoShow.com
to see how Greenwood Chevrolet can go the extra mile for you.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig, and we were talking a little bit about April Fool's Day. On this day, you never want to firmly believe anything that anyone has to say because, well, it is April the 1st, and people love to tell some whoppers, if you will, on April the 1st. For instance, a few years back, I'm a huge fan of music, rock music, any kind of music I'm a huge fan of. And I decided that I would have a little bit of fun with some folks. So I had made mention a few years back on April Fool's Day that Led Zeppelin was going to be making a reunion tour, and they were tickets were gonna be on sale. And he had a couple of people that bought it hook, line, and sinker, but other folks were like, yeah, we're not buying it. It's April the 1st. Try again. Have you tried to throw or sneak a couple of fastballs past some folks on April 1st?
It's hard because everyone's on such high guard because they know it's April Fool's.
Oh yeah.
So the one time, and it wasn't even on April Fool's, but it's the same kind of concept, and we were talking about this off air, so it brings it up. I was always in my wheelchair for college because I got getting around campus at YSU, not walking that campus. So I'm sitting in one of my broadcasting classes, and they all have always seen me in my wheelchair. So they don't understand that I can get out of it and I can move around. So the one day I'm just sitting there and there's something that I have to do, just in a table next to me. And instead of trying to maneuver my wheelchair around the classroom, I just kind of get up and stroll over to the next table. And the looks I got, made everything in college totally worth it.
There you go.
Because they were...
Wait a second.
Did Anthony just nonchalantly get out of his chair and go to the next table over? I mean, yeah, I did that. Yeah, cool. I'm just going to walk back over to my chair, sit down, and we're going to have a day. So that's always fun. And then that happened at Georgia Tech, too, when I went to the game. I got out of my chair, sat in the handicap side, but I wanted to sit in the stadium seat. I wanted the experience. So my brother sat in my wheelchair. And he got up and walked out of it during the game to go to the bathroom, and the looks he got were the same thing because it's man, you're using that chair to get that handicap seat. You're a jerk.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, exactly. That's good. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Open for business. We are officially open for business for opening day 2021. They're in the bottom of the first inning. Cleveland and Detroit scoreless. Toronto and New York scoreless at the end of one inning of play. Those are the only two games going on right now. Garrett Cole's on the hill for the Yankees. And who is it? I believe Ryu is on the hill for Toronto. And then we made mention the Indians and the Tigers. Shane Bieber is on the bump for the Indians. On the hill for Detroit, your left-handed pitcher Matthew Boyd. The Indians getting a hit in the bottom or in the top of the first inning. Cesar Hernandez got a double. He was left stranded at second base, if I'm not mistaken. So there you go.
Yep, and the Royals play at 4:10, so I'm patiently waiting. 4 o'clock, they play the Rangers, so.
All righty.
You get started, I'm patiently waiting.
All right, so your official prediction, where do you have the Royals?
Third place. I'm going with everybody else. I'm optimistic that they can get into third. I think their pitching is a little bit better this year. Their offense is going to be good enough. I'm hoping that Salvador Perez stays healthy this year because he makes such a difference behind the plate when he's back there catching. He runs the pitchers real well. He knows the pitchers so well, and he's like 6'4", so he's a brick wall back there that doesn't let a lot of balls get by him. Not to mention his offense. So hopefully we can stay healthy. I think we can get to third place. I think that's not unobtainable for the Royals.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe like 75 wins, 80 wins, somewhere around there.
Okay. I have the Indians at 85, right at 85 wins. I have them not going to the playoffs this year. I have the Pirates at 60 wins with the first pick overall in the 2022 draft. But that rebuild is going to it's going to go pretty quickly here. The farm system has gotten a whole lot better, and I'm a big fan and a big believer in what the Pirates are doing right now. I don't know when it pays dividends, but I think it's going to be a whole lot sooner than what people anticipate. Far as the World Series is concerned, I am buying what San Diego is selling. I think the Padres, mainly because it is so difficult to repeat as a champion in today's landscape in sports, not just baseball, in all of professional sports. It is so difficult to repeat as a World Series champion or a Super Bowl champ or an NBA champion. So I have San Diego knocking off New York in the World Series. So I really like what the Padres are bringing to the table this year.
You're bringing all to the Padres, huh?
Yeah, I really like what the Padres are bringing to the table this year. Not just what they have down the farm, which is very close to coming up. Mackenzie Gore is going to be an ungodly pitcher.
And you have the Yankees going to the World Series.
Yes. Yeah. I reluctantly put the Yankees in the World Series. Kluber's their two-starter, which should worry a lot of Yankee fans because the last time Kluber was healthy, he was in an Indians uniform. It's been a while. I don't see any other team in the American League
I know it's boring.
That's on their level.
I know it's boring, but I'm going with Astros, Dodgers, World Series, Dodgers win. I mean, it's been, the Astros have been there, done that, and so have the Dodgers in the last couple of years, but I don't see the Padres knocking out the Dodgers.
All right. Whoever wins that division, the second place team is going to wind up playing them in the playoffs, assuming that the Dodgers or the Padres are the best team in the National League.
They do have to make it out of that wild card playing game.
Well, absolutely.
Which anything can happen in that game.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, it's especially if it's the Mets, because your chances are you're going to be going up against Thor, and he's a pretty good pitcher, so Jacob deGrom. So, a lot of strange things can happen. So we'll see. We'll see what transpires. I have the Padres beating the Yankees in the World Series. You have the Dodgers repeating.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go from there. By the way, do you have the Royals finishing better than the Indians?
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. I can't say that you're wrong on this. You might be right on this.
I just don't. There's so many unknowns with the Indians. It's hard to say that they're going to. I mean, you're confident that they're going to win 85. Their pitching staff is better than the Royals by far. But the Royals have always given the Indians fits.
Yes. Yeah.
So the head-to-head might give the Royals a little bit of an edge, and I think I think the Royals pitching staff is good enough. Not Indians caliber, not even close, but good enough. And their offense is honestly probably one of the better in the division. When you look at their lineup and everything they bring to the lineup, they have power in Santana and Soler, and they have average. Santana's going to get on base a lot. They have average Mondesi and Witt. So I don't see too many holes in their lineup, and I think they'll be okay.
It'll be fun. The division is going to get a whole lot better in 2022 because I think the Royals are going to be a much, much better team. I think the Tigers are going to be a much better team, and the Indians. We're gonna know an awful lot about this team by the end of the 2021 season as far as long term for the Indians.
Everyone understood that last year that window was on its last leg of closing.
Oh yeah.
So now you have to wonder if this team now is the window shut or if they can open that window back up.
Yeah. And I know there's going to be a lot of folks that are wondering aloud, oh, you're already not playing Jake Bauers today. Look, I mean, I think it's a pretty apparent that at least for the early going, there's going to be a platoon in first base and in center field. But they're going to give Bauers every opportunity in the world to win the first base position and go from there. And by the way, Detroit is off and running in the bottom of the first inning. Miguel Cabrera just hit his first home run of the season.
Wow, that
didn't take long. 2-run bomb off of Bieber, and they're in the bottom of the first, 2-0 Tigers.
Miggy did not take long.
No, he didn't. And Cabrera, you're not going to see an awful lot of great things out of Detroit this year, but Miguel Cabrera is now 12 home runs away from hitting his 500th home run, and he is under 150 hits away from being 3,000.
After this still might be a bold prediction. I think he blows 12 home runs out of the water this year. I think he gets 20, 25. Hits, that's going to be tough. 150 hits in a season.
Yeah, he's 134 hits. Going into today, he was 134 hits away from 3,000. He's now 133 hits away from 3,000 and 12 home runs away from 500.
That 3,000 hits club might take him one more season to get.
I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to get, especially for him, because he doesn't hit for average, really.
Oh, he's an average hitter.
Yeah, he can, but later in his career, last couple of years, he's been pretty much home run, or ground out or whatever. You know, he's not really going to hit huge averages. I don't know, 130, he can do it, but I'm very confident that he'll get his 500th home run.
Yeah, in his last 4 years, 249 in 2017, 299 in 2018, 282 in 2019, 250 in 2020.
I wonder in 18-19 how many at-bats he got, though, because he dealt with some injuries those years, didn't he?
134 at-bats in 2018. He only played 38 games.
Right.
And then 2019, he had 136 games played, 493 at-bats.
Which, 493. Okay, so 2019, that's a legitimate stat. Obviously, 2018, that average is inflated with the fact that he only played 30-some games.
Yeah. 2020, he played 57 of the 60 games, wound up hitting 250, 10 homers, 35 RBI. So, in a whole year, multiply that by 30 homers, 105 runs batted in. So he could do it. I mean, we'll see. But they're off to a 2-0 lead thanks to Miggy. He's been an Indians killer his whole damn career. Craziness. Well.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Shane Bieber won't be having the history-making opening day start that he did last year.
You think? Speaking of, and we still haven't had an opening day no-hitter since Bob Feller. Prior to World War II, I want to say 1940, maybe 41, before 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 the United States got involved in World War II, which would have been the summer of 41 was the last year before World War II. I believe Bob Feller pitched an opening day no-hitter in his illustrious Hall of Fame career. So we've yet to see an opening. It's been a while since we've seen an opening day no-hitter. So that would be nice to see.
Bieber last season, he might not have been a no-hitter, but it was probably one of the better opening day performances that we've ever seen, because what do you have, 15 strikeouts?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
He was pretty solid. Bieber has 2 punch-outs in his in the first inning.
Are they still in the first?
No, he just got out of trouble.
Okay.
Gave up 2 runs, 3 hits in
geez.
the first inning. Tigers are off and running. They lead the Indians 2-0.
Oh, you got 8 innings. You're fine. You got 8 innings.
I mean, the offense, they'll get some runs off of Boyd. Maybe, hopefully. Garrett Cole's in a little bit of trouble. He's already given up a run. Blue Jays have runners at first and second, 2 outs, top of the second inning. So, happy opening day. Yeah, the people in New York might lose their ever-loving minds if they lose their first game. I've never seen a group of fans that go off the deep end quicker than New York fans. It's just, the sky is falling. It's one game.
Well, we're screwed.
It's one game.
It's like, welcome to Mets baseball. Here's the first pitch, and the season's over.
Do you realize that, let's see, 162 game season, 161 games left. You got 99% of the season still to be played.
Nope, we're done.
Yeah. Apparently we're done. So, no iron.
Opening day question for you, and we asked this off the air. What is the most intriguing opening day series in your opinion?
Oh, wow.
And I know, like, opening day in April, the series don't really carry a whole lot of weight as far as what we tell about these teams. But I think there are a couple that kind of might be pretty good competitive series.
Well, we're going to run through all the series right now, and then we'll determine. Cleveland's at Detroit. Toronto is at New York. Minnesota is at Milwaukee. Pittsburgh is at Chicago. Atlanta's at Philadelphia. The Dodgers are in Colorado. Arizona's at San Diego. St. Louis is at Cincinnati. Texas is at Kansas City. Tampa Bay is at Miami. Chicago White Sox are in Anaheim. Houston is at Oakland. San Francisco is at Seattle. Baltimore was to have played Boston. That game has been rained out or snowed out. I'm not sure which one. And the Mets were to have played the Nationals today. We made mention the Nationals have some COVID issues. That game and possibly games are going to be postponed. So, all right, let me hear it. What do you got?
For mine, I'm going with, and it's an interleague series, but I think this Twins-Brewers series is going to be really good. I mean, Twins are the favorites in the AL Central, and we talked about the NL Central kind of being up for grabs, and the Brewers are one of the teams that have a legitimate shot at winning the Central. So I think 2 teams that could win each Central Division opening the season against each other, that's probably going to be the most intriguing series of the weekend for me.
There's 3 series that are intriguing in that they're interdivisional games, which you got to win in your division. That's you see these teams 19 times apiece in your division. Those divisional games mean a whole lot because you're in a 5-team division. Well, actually a 4-team division. I beg your pardon. So you're playing those 3 teams 19 times each. You're looking at 57 games. So that's a ton of games. Actually, no, it's wait a minute. Chicago, Detroit, Kansas City, Minnesota. Yeah, there's 5 teams in each league. So
take a step back.
Yeah, I got to take a step back. I'm trying to think in my head because the standings are there's 5 teams. Yeah, there's 5 teams in each division. So 4 times 19 is 76 games. So a little under half of your season is going to be divisional play. And because of that, I think that Toronto and New York is going to be a huge series, because Toronto is a team that could crash the party in the American League East, because they have some talent on that team. And then the other 2 series, I don't know what to think of Philadelphia. I don't know if they have enough pitching to win the National League East. Atlanta's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. But that series is going to be entertaining. And then the other series, I don't think a lot of people have really put a lot of stock into Cincinnati. Cincinnati might be the best team in this division that no one's ever heard of. They're going up against the gold standard in the National League Central year in, year out. That's St. Louis. I think that series is going to have a lot of cayenne pepper to it. So of the 3, I'm going to say Toronto and New York, because Toronto is so close to New York in terms of talent level. This could be fun to watch what the Blue Jays can do to the Yankees. They have a 1-0 lead, by the way, into the bottom of the 2nd inning. Early, though.
Redbirds versus the Reds.
Yeah, a lot of folks are not all in on Cincinnati, or they don't think very much of Cincinnati. Bauer left, and the pitching staff isn't is nearly as good, or at least on paper it isn't. Now this Cincinnati team is. I'm not going to say they're going to win the division, but they're going to be a team to watch.
Yeah, and I think they're an afterthought almost because of how strong the division is.
Oh yeah,
because you have the Cardinals, the Cubs,
and Milwaukee's going to be a good team, and unfortunately the Pirates are rebuilding, so they're going to be a team that's going to finish in last place.
Pirates aren't rebuilding.
Year.
The Pirates are on their trip to Home Depot to get the supplies to rebuild.
Yeah, they tore the building down to the studs, and now they're trying to rebuild it. And truth be told, this is something that should have been done 3 years earlier. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they decided not to. And when Ben Cherington was hired to become the general manager, that's what he did. He said, hey, look, let's trade away guys that are not going to be here by the time we're ready to compete, and let's build our team around Brian Hayes and some of the other young bucks that are going to be part of this team when they get going. And I'll say it, I think the Pirates could be a competitive team and a contender for the National League Central Division as early as 2023 if everything falls into place.
Yeah, that's the thing, getting everything to fall into place. That's the hard thing when you're a small market team and then you're in a division like Pittsburgh is. You got to get everything to fall exactly right. I mean, even the Royals, their 2-year run, everything kind of fell right into their lap, and they got the opportunity and they took it. But you saw how fast that window can close for small market teams as well. So
no question.
When the Pirates get it, they gotta go for it. They gotta do what the Royals did and sign Johnny Cueto to the 1-year deal, so they can have a pitcher that can get them through the World Series. Sign James Shield, those type of things. When you get the window, you have to have the front office that can say, okay, this is our window now. We got here. We had everything fall into place.
Yeah.
We're going to make moves and make it happen.
See, that's where, unfortunately, the Pirates had that 3-year window.
They did.
And Bob Nutting didn't do a damn thing come trade deadline, which just infuriated me. And I think a lot of Pirates fans were pissed off about it, and they should have been. Because there was a 3-year window for the Pirates to actually accomplish some things, and unfortunately they didn't do it.
And then in those 3 years, they got to the playoffs every 3.
Absolutely, and they went to the NLDS 1 year and pushed the eventual World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals to the edge.
I thought they got swept.
No, they got beaten 5.
Okay.
Yeah, because they had a 2-1 series lead on St. Louis. and pushed them to the edge, but couldn't get them over, unfortunately.
That was the year they beat Cueto in the wild card, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their crowd took all the credit for it. They were chanting Cueto. And
39,000 people chanting Cueto, which was phenomenal. It was, and the thing that bothers me the most about what Pirate fans are going through, that stadium. Oh my God.
It deserves to be in the playoffs every year.
Absolutely, it does. It just, that stadium is so gorgeous, and you shouldn't really have a problem selling Pittsburgh based on, hey, you get to play 81 games in this cathedral where you walk in and you see the skyline in right center field, and you see the way the stadium is honoring Roberto Clemente with the 21-foot high wall in right field, and you got the river that you can shoot for if you're a power hitter, and the bridges, and it's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous facility.
It's a lot nicer than Three Rivers.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Three Rivers was. It was a cookie cutter place that, it was all right, but it was a cookie cutter place. It was a typical 70s sterile environment, which it was nothing to it. I mean, now in the same way, Municipal Stadium in Cleveland,
same way.
It wasn't a sterile environment, but it was old.
It wasn't sterile.
It was old.
At all.
It was.
You can catch hepatitis at Municipal.
Well, I mean, it had character, but it was old. You walk into that place and you can smell the stale cigar and beer from the concourse. It was an old rickety place, and the Indians knew they needed to replace that stadium, and thank God they got a gorgeous cathedral in their own right in Progressive Field.
Someone came into Cleveland and said, "Guys, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. Let's get out of here."
Well, I mean, in some ways, Wrigley was the same way until they put some renovations into it. I remember the last year we were the Cubs AA affiliate in Jackson. They invited us up to Chicago for a couple of days while the ownership group was trying to hammer out a long-term deal to have the Cubs remain in Jackson, Tennessee, and we knew that was never going to happen. They were going to go to the eastern end of the state, which they did. But the Lozenak family, who owned the West End Diamond Jacks, they invited all of us up to Chicago. So we all spent 2 days in Chicago and went to 2 games at Wrigley Field. That place was a garbage dump. It was horrible. The stadium had all kinds of cracks in the foundation. The infield was just a garbled mess of garbage. Everything about that stadium was horse shit. It was absolutely horrendous. I was like, why in the world would anyone want to come to this dump to watch a baseball game? And then after that year was over, they put hundreds of millions of dollars into it, and now it's going to be a landmark in Chicago. They're not leaving Wrigley anytime soon. Just like the people in Boston, Fenway is going to be a landmark for years and years and years to come. And both stadiums needed a facelift in the worst way, and thankfully, both organizations renovated the 2 facilities.
I'll tell you, I can't wait till summer to get back to Kauffman Stadium, and because you couldn't go last summer, and it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, I've never been inside the stadium. I've been outside of the stadium, and I've driven past the stadium, but I've never gone inside. The one time I was there, they were on the road, unfortunately, because I would have gotten a ticket and gone to the game.
It's immensely better now that they added all the stuff in the outfield, and you can pretty much walk the circle. You walk the whole. I mean, it used to be just you're cut off after foul territory, and they had the outfield grass, and the fountains were still there. Now they have seating in the outfield. They have the Hall of Fame out there. It's a fun place to go watch a baseball game, and you don't have to be in your seat the whole time like you used to be. There's really nothing else to do if you weren't sitting watching the baseball game. Now you can go, if there's a lull in a game or the Royals are getting blown out, God forbid, you can go stroll around the outfield and take a whiff of the fountains and get some good experience in there.
Well, the fountains are what really brings a greatness about that.
Now you can sit right behind the fountains or in front of them and get that little cool mist every now and then in the hot, humid Kansas City weather, because it does get humid.
Oh, yeah.
It's 100% humidity in Kansas City.
Yeah. Hey, Detroit, by the way, has scored another run off Shane Bieber. It is now 3-0. They got runners at the corners with 1 out. All right. Shane Bieber getting knocked around a little bit in the bottom of the second inning. By the way, it's the game time temperature. Do we care to make a little guess on the game time temperature?
Just tell me if it's worse or better than here.
How?
Here it's like 32.
Oh, okay. It's actually, I can't say better or worse.
Oh, Jesus, is it 32?
It's 32 and snowing.
Actually, my phone says right now it's 28 degrees. So.
Okay, well then it's 4 degrees warmer on opening day in Detroit. It is 32 degrees. It is snowing, and the wind is blowing out to center field at 15 miles an hour. I got to believe the wind chill factor is in the mid-teens then.
By the way, just get through today and tomorrow because we're back into the 50s on Saturday, and then it's 68, 68, 70, 68, thank God.
Yeah.
I hope this is the last cold weather.
I would hope so.
I know it's not guaranteed because I remember not broadcast, but I remember going to softball tournament games in snow flurries. And that's in May. So I know that there's not a guarantee that we're done, but I hope so.
Weren't we in snow in early May last year?
I hope not. If it was so painful I washed it out of my memory.
I want to say that we had snow as late as early May last year. I don't know. Maybe I'm off on that. I'm too busy.
I just remember watching a district championship game in snow flurries and thinking, this isn't right. Let's just postpone this a day. Because it's a district championship. There's so much on the line, and they're out there playing in snow flurries.
That's how the unpredictability of Mother Nature. And one of the reasons why there was talk, which unfortunately it's all it was, because it would kill baseball. Fortunately, I should say, it would kill baseball in the state if you put baseball as a fall sport. It would kill baseball in this state because if you had to choose between baseball and football in this area, even though we are better statewide in baseball than we are in football, at least for right now, you would not have the choice between football and baseball would not be pretty for the baseball end of it.
Especially in this area because there are so many schools that not just have multiple sport athletes, but rely on multiple sport athletes because there's so many small schools that need their kids to play multiple sports to have a team. So there's a handful of teams up on this wall that would probably not have a baseball team.
Exactly.
Because there just wouldn't be enough players. That's just reality.
And I think that's the reason why, even though it probably works better weather-wise in the fall, you'll never see baseball go into the fall for the simple reason of what you just mentioned, Anthony. You try to put baseball in the fall, you're going to kill the sport of baseball in the state of Ohio because nobody is going to play. If you're choosing between football and baseball in this state, high majority of kids are going to choose football.
It would work in a state like California. It would work in Kentucky where there's a lot of bigger schools that don't rely on multiple sport athletes. But in Ohio, I would say if you had to take a poll, how many schools have majority of their athletes be multiple sport athletes? Ohio would have a lot of schools in the whole state that do have that. Because there aren't a lot of monster, huge schools in the state of Ohio. It's probably some in Columbus, some in Cincinnati, some in Cleveland. And then outside of that, it's a bunch of rural area with a bunch of small schools. Kentucky's the opposite. They have a bunch of big schools in Lexington and Louisville, and there's not a lot of more room for rural area schools to kind of fit in there.
There is and I think Kentucky is the state that does this, where if you have a rural county, they have one school for that entire county, and they make it a really, really large school. But if you live in a rural area, they have one school for that entire county, which makes things a little different. Where here in Columbiana County is a rural county, let's be honest. There's plenty of schools in Columbiana County. You got Salem, you got Leetonia, you got Columbiana, you got Palestine, Lisbon, Southern, United, Beaver Local, Wellsville, East Liverpool, and I'm probably missing a couple. So there's a ton of schools in a rural county in Ohio, where in Kentucky, and I believe that's still the case, if you're in a rural county, they just have one school for the entire county. It's different.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Kentucky is the only state in the country, I believe, the only state in the country that has one state championship game instead of breaking it into divisions.
Yeah.
Because they just don't have.
We talked a little bit about this when we made mention that Hoosiers was on a couple of days ago, a week or so ago, how that was the norm in Indiana until just recently, like about 10 or 15 years ago. They finally said, "Hey, we can't do this. This is unfair for the small schools." But there are some other states that actually have, hey, we're only going to do one championship. Well, wait a second. What about the smaller school? That's not really fair. That would be the equivalent of putting a Leetonia or Lowville up against an Austintown Fitch.
No, it would be.
Honestly, I'm not too happy with that one.
In some of the playoffs, it would be like putting Lowville up against St. Ed's or Columbus.
One of the Columbus schools.
Forget Fitch and Boardman. Like, it would be like, hey, first round of the playoffs, you're going to go play Columbus Central or whatever. A school that literally has probably more kids in a class than you do in your entire school system.
Yeah.
And that's what it would kind of be like.
Well, I would think if you were to do this whole thing, it would be done in regions.
But the reasons why it's done in Kentucky is because there's not a lot of schools that are tiny.
Oh, no.
It's just not.
Yeah, because one county, if it's rural, you have one school, and then everyone goes to it, and it's not really tiny then. Imagine if you were to combine East Liverpool, Wellsville, Beaver Local, Southern, United, Lisbon, Crestview, Columbiana, Leetonia, East Palestine, and Salem.
Plus,
all together.
Remember, you go down in Kentucky, you start to get down to Tennessee and Virginia and the southern states, you hit the Bible Belt, and there's a lot more Catholic and parochial schools down there that take a lot of the students away from your rural, suburb type high schools.
True.
And that's one of the true things too.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to take a timeout. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. It is opening day, an opening day to forget if you are a member of the Indians right now.
So
3-0 after 2 innings of play. Bieber did get out of trouble, but in the first 2 innings, Shane Bieber has given up 3 runs, all of them earned, 4 hits, 1 walk. He has struck out 5. Gave up the home run to Miguel Cabrera.
Just setting up a dramatic comeback. That's all they're doing.
Hey, look, it's 3-0, down 3-zip into the 3rd inning. I'm not going to be worried about it. Like I said, the opening day, after opening day, there's 99.64% of baseball to be played.
Okay,
nobody freaks out over one loss.
Here's what I want. So since you're saying that, at what point in the season, does a bad start to get real worrisome?
I don't worry about my club at all until Memorial Day.
So even because these games matter. So if the
Of course.
Indians get off to like a 2-10 start, you're not worried.
Nope. Now,
2-12.
If the Indians, and I have said this for years, you cannot win your division in April, but you can lose your division in April.
And you can lose your playoff spot.
And you can lose a lot in April. So to answer your question from that direction, if I believe the Indians are a playoff team, which I don't think the Indians make the playoffs this year. But I do think they win 85 games, but I don't think they make the playoffs this year. If I thought they were a playoff team and they went off to a 2-12 start, I'd be a little worried. I'd actually be a lot worried. But
2-12 has to have your Skittles kind of rumbling a little bit.
2-12 would be concerning, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Like I said, come Memorial Day, the unofficial quarter pole of a season, that's when you figure out, okay, this is the kind of team that we have. Let's see what
Memorial
transpires.
Day is usually like 35 to 40 games
somewhere in that vicinity.
So.
Yeah, like 40 games in. If the Indians are 10-30, we have some problems. Yeah, we have some problems. So
danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah, exactly. The robot's pouring Skittles out of his arms as he goes, danger.
Right. Man, that's so true. I remember one year in high school, the Royals started out the season like 12-2, and I was like on cloud 9, and we ended up being like a basement team that was 65, and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
don't do that to me.
Yeah,
because you go on a stretch in a month where you only win like 3 games in the month of May, and it's like.
Yeah, that's where 14, 15 games into a season, if a team's like 13-2 or something like that, they're off to a really good start. Talk to me Memorial Day. Let's see where this team is. And same thing with a player that whether a player gets off to a really crappy start. And I guess the hot topic for Cleveland is Jake Bauers. It seems that Bauers is going to be everyone's whipping boy this year in Cleveland because everyone wants Bobby Bradley. I'm not going to worry one iota about a team until Memorial Day.
But here's the flip side of that. You get to a wild card. I mean, like these games in April, baseball's funny because they don't feel like they matter that much.
They do.
I mean, but they do. They really do. I mean, if you're down into a playoff race down at the end of the season, and you're 2 games back, but you start in April 2-12, you're sitting there like
you shouldn't
last.
Shouldn't have started the season 2-12.
Right? Like baseball has this feeling where like, okay, it's April. We lost. Oh, we started off bad. It's just April because it's such a long season, but it still matters.
It does.
It still matters.
And what matters even more are April games against divisional opponents. As I mentioned, 76 games of your 162 games are going to be played against divisional opponents. If you're losing a crap load of games against your division, you don't belong in the postseason, as far as I'm concerned. You don't deserve to be there because you couldn't get the job done in your own division. And that's 9 times out of 10 costs people.
That makes me interested. I want to know what the record is for worst division record for a division winner.
I'm curious.
Because that would be fun to see, like where a team like maybe they just destroyed everyone out of their division, but for whatever reason struggled inside their division.
Yeah,
and still won the division.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean that would be interesting. But I do know that
that's one of those obscure stats that I saw on Mandy Bell's Twitter last night, where she said, "I always let my producer know when I'm going to ask a random question because she has the alert for the text that says random question alert."
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those random questions. We're going to have to text Mandy and be like, "Hey, we need this answered. We know you have the people that can answer this."
I would be curious to know that the answer to that question for sure. But again, for those that the freak out level, to me, it's not until Memorial Day.
I remember
that's when I start getting really concerned about a team.
In football, 2011 or 12, the year that the Chiefs got Matt Castle out of the New England, they went like 2-6 in the division. Is that right? Play 8 games.
Yeah, 6 games.
6 games. So
yeah.
they went like 2-4 in the division, but won it because they played well everywhere else.
Yeah.
And the Broncos were like 5-1.
Wow.
But they didn't win the division.
Yeah.
And they also missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they were all like, "Oh my God, how can you go 2-4?"
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with the Browns. We'll use that as an example. Cleveland went 3-3 in their division, but the reason why they went 11-5 last year was because they swept their 2 divisional opponents. Last year they played the NFC. Who did they play? They played the NFC East last year. They won all of those games. They beat Washington, Philadelphia, Dallas, and the Giants. And then they swept the AFC South. They beat Indianapolis, Houston, Jacksonville, and who's the fourth team in that? Who's the fourth team in that? Indianapolis, Jacksonville. Oh, Tennessee. Yeah. So they won 8 games from those 2 divisions. They're playing the AFC West this year and the NFC North. They're not going 8-0 this year because they're not getting past Kansas City and they're not going to get past Green Bay. So they're not going to go 8-0 this year. I
better have a better division record to make up for that.
They better have a better division record to make up for that. Now, of course,
last year, just imagine if they didn't clunker against the Raiders. It was a very winnable game. That was one of the 2 that they played in the other division. You played the 2
the 2 teams in the division. Yeah,
I mean they clunked against the Raiders. They could have been 12.
They could have been 12-4 and won the division, which, oh well.
And who is the other AFC team?
The other AFC team last year was the New York Jets, and they won that game.
Well, they were 11-5, so they lost 3 in the division.
They lost 3 in the division.
They swept the NFC and the other AFC division that they played completely.
Oh, did they lose to the Jets that
So
year?
they had to lose. Wasn't the Jets game the one where Baker Mayfield fumbled the?
Yeah, they lost to the Jets. Yeah, you're right. They lost to the Jets that year. Yeah, they went 0-2 in the division. Now this year they've got 17 games.
Those are 2 games that you really should have won.
You could have,
imagine that. I mean, you should have beat. There's no reason you shouldn't have beat the Jets.
Yeah.
And you should have beat the Raiders. So, if you're Cleveland, you're sitting there thinking, in all likelihood, I mean, we had every right to be a 13-3 team last year. You weren't, but that's going to give you a lot of optimism going into this season, thinking you were 11-5 and you still feel like you underperformed.
Yeah, the games that they lost to the Ravens, they lost to the Steelers, they lost to the Raiders. They lost to the Ravens, and they lost to the Jets. Yeah, so they went 8-0 in the 2 divisions that they played, 3-3 in the division, and 0-2 with the 2 teams that were, I think, 3rd place because they finished in 3rd the year before. So the 2 teams that they played, 1 in the AFC East, 1 in the AFC West.
Wow, that's hard to imagine that the Jets were a 3rd-place team.
Yeah.
The dumpster fire they are now. It's hard to imagine that.
Well, the Dolphins were a last place team the year before.
But that was the year where, even though they were a last place team, they beat the Patriots in the last week of the season.
Yeah,
It's magic.
This year, the Browns play the AFC West, which is Kansas City, Vegas, San Diego. There I go again. Los Angeles, and Denver. And then the NFC North, which is Minnesota, Green Bay, Detroit, and Chicago. And then the 2 divisional teams that they get to play, the Patriots, who finished in 3rd place in the AFC East, and the Texans, who finished in 3rd place in the AFC South. And then you got to play a 17th game, to which they ended up with the NFC West. So they're going to play against Arizona, who finished in 3rd place in the NFC West. So J.J. Watt comes to Cleveland, but not as a Brown. He comes to Cleveland in the final week of the season, or week 17. I guess it would be the final week of the season. I don't know.
I wonder when their bye week is, because you have 17 weeks and now you have 17 games. Where are they putting the team's bye weeks? Is it now 18 weeks? So is that week 18? They're playing that 17th game?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, I've said this for a long time. I think the byes should always be the divisions. Every team in the division.
I don't want to see the whole division off for the whole week. That's boring.
Well,
Then
it would be the AFC West. The AFC West would be off.
I want to see the Chiefs be playing when the Raiders aren't, and that way I could say we won a game and you. We're another leg up on you.
Yeah, but from a fairness standpoint, I think it would work because everyone would have the exact same bye week.
No one needs to be fair. Come on. I think the Browns would really need to go 5-3 in those 8 games with the division they play in. They need to find a way to go 5-3, and that can be winning against everyone in the North except the Packers, and maybe dropping one to the Chiefs and the Chargers, and beating the Raiders and the Broncos.
Yeah, if they were to go 5-3, but then you'd still have 3 games to make up because you went 8-0 last year.
I know. I think they can at least split with the Ravens. They're good enough to. Please, they need to split with the Ravens.
Okay, split with the Ravens.
Split with the Steelers.
That's 2-2, and then beat the Bengals twice. All right, so then you've gained 1 game there. So then you gotta gain 2 games somewhere.
At that point, they would be 9-5.
You would be 9-5, and then you play Houston, which should be a win. 10-5. New England is going to be.
But they should win that game. If they're a playoff team, they need to win that game, especially with.
But New England is
with the way New England is right now. Because we don't know what they are right now. So with the way they are right now,
they're Buffalo's chief threat to win the division.
We should say right now because they don't have a quarterback yet other than Cam Newton.
Okay. I agree with that.
It's Cam. 11-5.
And then you get Arizona.
You beat Arizona. 12-5, I think, is something that you can really. With this schedule, 12-5 would be something that the Browns would be really.
I think they could go no more than 10-7 this year. But they get to the playoffs, but no more than 10-7 this year. Now,
do you think the extra game makes it harder or easier to get into the playoffs with a record? Do you think 10-7 will be good enough with that extra game, or do you think there will be more teams bunched up, and 11-6 might have to be what the benchmark is? Because like last year, there were a lot of teams in that last week that were vying for that one spot.
The AFC's loaded. That's why this is going to be weird.
Crazy, because going into last season, we were all like, the NFC's loaded, the AFC's got 2 teams that are going to fight for it.
Yeah.
And really, it flipped on its head, where the NFC had 2 teams that you knew, okay, it's either going to be when the playoffs started, you were thinking Buccaneers and you were thinking Packers. And you were thinking those are the 2 teams that are really shined at that point. And in the AFC, it was like, oh, the Chiefs are there, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns. You thought everyone really could match up with each other. And the Bills, don't want to forget about your team.
Yeah.
The Bills, it's like, dang, it's a lot more stacked than we thought it'd be.
10-6 didn't get to the postseason last year in the AFC.
I got to be honest. The Bills were better this year than I thought they'd be. I thought they'd win the division. I didn't think they'd be.
I didn't see them going 13-3.
13-3.
Yeah, I didn't see that at all. I thought 11 wins, win a playoff game, lose in the divisional. Lose in the divisional playoffs, win a playoff game on Wild Card weekend because. They weren't going to be the number 1 seed, so they were going to have to play a game.
Have you ever told me why the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres?
Oh yeah, no, this was a no-brainer for me. My mom's uncle, which would have been my grandmother on my mom's side, my maternal grandmother's brother, lived in Buffalo, and his son and I are second cousins. We graduated the same year from high school. I became a Bills fan mainly because of my cousin and my cousins, because my one cousin's older brother. That's where I got my. That's where I got my Bills fandom.
They indoctrinated you into the Bills Mafia and the Sabres, right? I'm guessing they made you a Sabres fan.
I think the Sabres were kind of they're in Buffalo. Let's root for them as well.
Were they not baseball fans, or was New York just too much of a lure where you could not be a fan of a New York team? whether it be Mets or Yankees.
Yeah, I'm not going to root for either one of them. I am a Mets fan. I was a Mets fan in the 80s, mainly because the cable that everyone had around here, super stations like the Braves, the Cubs, and the Mets, they all had their games on like 150 some odd games a year. I was a big fan of the Mets, Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden era. Oh man, that was fun to watch. That was fun to watch. But clearly I would root for the Indians against every team, but that Mets team was so much fun to watch.
But they got you for the Bills. Like you would root for the Bills over the Browns, right? That's your team.
There was a stretch growing up where it was the Browns over the Bills, but not very long after. I would say the mid '80s. It was all Buffalo, and if the Bills played the Browns, okay.
So I guess the question was, what was the tipping point that made the Bills that team that said, I'm going to root for them over the team that I'm geographically connected to, compared to the Mets, who were, you like them, and I'm sure, were your cousins baseball fans? Were they Mets fans?
I don't think they were baseball fans per se.
Okay, well, maybe that did it too.
I think that when their grandfather, my great-grandfather, passed, it was in October of '85, and that's when the Blue Jays went to the playoffs and played your Royals.
Right.
They were home, obviously, for my great-grandfather's funeral, and I think after calling hours was Game 3 or Game 4 of the ALCS, and I was talking to him. I said, "Are you guys rooting for the Blue Jays because you're so close to Toronto?" And they're, "Oh, not really. We didn't really give a hoot that much about baseball." I'm like, okay, there you go. So now I was enamored with OJ in his career in Buffalo. And I remember this would have been 73 when he ran for over 2,000 yards in 14 games, by the way, not 16. That was when I started. Holy crap! This is a really interesting team, and they had the logo that was the old AFL logo, which was really cool as well. I was indoctrinated into Bills football early on, but '89 was the first time Buffalo and Cleveland played each other with something significant on the line, and that was the divisional playoff game. And it was weird not rooting for the Browns because that was what it turns out to be the tail end of Bernie's reign with the Browns, and they were trying to finally get the Elway monkey off their back, and that was the first of, well, the year before Buffalo had gone to the AFC title game and lost to Cincinnati, and that was the start of what turned out to be 6 years of incredible football in Buffalo. But it was also the beginning of the bickering Bills era, where they didn't get any of their stuff together because everyone was too busy trying to one-up each other, and they weren't really a team. And it bled over into '89, where they really weren't a team. And if you remember that game, Buffalo was deep in Cleveland's territory. Kelly threw a pass that was perfectly thrown right into Ronnie Harmon's hands, right through his hands, which would have won the game for Buffalo. And then the very next play, Kelly threw a pick. Clay Matthews stepped right in front of the intended receiver and picked the pass off, and the game was over. But in that game, Buffalo was down at halftime. They were down pretty big, and Marv Levy said, "We're going to run a no-huddle offense the rest of the game. We're just gonna go at them in waves." They scored a ridiculous amount of points in the second half to get back into the game, and that was the era of the K-Gun offense, where they said, "Holy crap! Look how many points we scored against this pretty good defense. Let's see if we can do this for a whole year." That's where the run and gun type of offensive build of Buffalo, the K-Gun offense, got its start. So, no, I've been a Bills fan for the better part of close to 50 years. Yeah.
Well, for me, my mom's from Kansas City.
So that's how you get your Royal
She
stuff.
was born in Kansas City.
Okay.
My dad's a Mooney grad, but he went to medical school in Kansas City. So
Okay.
they met out there, and then obviously came back here when they got married. But her whole family's from Kansas City, so that's why we go there every summer. And then
There you go.
I did tell the story, like when I was really young, I wanted to be a Rebel because my whole family was Chief fans. And I was like, I don't want to be like you guys because I'm cool. I'm a 6-year-old cool kid.
So you want to be a Raiders fan?
I was a Packers fan. I picked the Packers.
Ah, okay.
I was enamored with Brett Favre, like you were enamored with OJ.
Yeah.
My guy didn't go and kill someone.
Well, yeah.
So, hey.
You had to bring that up, huh?
I got the Chiefs hat. I still have a Reggie White autographed pennant.
Nice.
So, but once you grow out of that, you join your family. You're a Chiefs fan through and through, and Royals and whatever. So, Georgia Tech. Everyone's like, well, why are you a Georgia Tech fan?
Yeah, I want to hear this because that one is kind of head scratching.
It honestly started off as a bandwagon fan because 2004, doing the bracket, I picked them to go to the championship game. They did it. They went to the championship game. They were a 3 seed. They beat Oklahoma State to go to the championship game and then lost to Okafor and the UConn Huskies in the championship game. And then so I rooted for them through that whole tournament because I picked them. And it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to pick the champion. And they lost the championship game, so I didn't get the champion right. But at the same time, Calvin Johnson was a freshman. So it's like, how can you not fall in love with the team you just rooted for all the basketball season to go and watch their football team? You check them out. Oh my gosh, they have this unbelievable phenom, probably the best wide receiver in college football. And then obviously we knew the Tuminellos, and Kevin Tuminello graduated from Boardman High School. And at that same time, he was also the center for Georgia Tech. So he got me tickets to the Georgia game, and it was just like...
There you go.
Yeah. But ever since then, like, I feel like if it was just that, the fanhood would die after a little bit, like after Calvin Johnson leaves and the football team becomes a little bit, not mediocre, because they won like 3 or 4 ACC championships with Paul Johnson or whatever. But it didn't die because every time I go to Georgia Tech and every time I meet someone from Georgia Tech, it's like the people. You root for that team because of the people that you meet, and because, if someone was devious enough to just say, I'm going to drop Anthony off in Atlanta, Georgia, he won't know anybody, he'll be lost. I have people I can go on that campus and know people well enough to be like, hey, can I stay with you? Like, there's family there. So, So especially for college sports, I think you root for the people that you have connections to.
Yeah.
And I've never met someone at Georgia Tech, whether it be player, coach, staff member, broadcaster, student, that wasn't just a phenomenal person.
See, now I feel like growing up, I was a huge Ohio State fan, which would surprise an awful lot of people.
April Fools.
No. I'm dead serious. I was a huge Ohio State fan through the Woody Hayes era, the whole 9 yards.
He was a character.
I just divorced myself from Ohio State when they fired Earl Bruce. I said, this is garbage. I can't believe you guys are doing this. You didn't fire Woody Hayes until he punched some clown from Clemson out in a Gator Bowl. You had to put up with a lot of crap that Woody Hayes did, because Woody Hayes was not a pleasant human being.
He was a character.
He was a character, and he probably should have been fired years ago, but he wasn't. But if you're a fan of a team, you put up with some of that stuff. When they fired Earl Bruce, I said, "That's it, done. I'm not rooting for this team ever again," and I haven't, and I won't. And it just that pissed me off to the point where I was just like, "Nah, see ya, we're done."
The pettiness of a sports fan is real, and it is real. I mean, like I see a lot of, I'm never gonna watch this sport again. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But sometimes, most of the time, it's just people buffing their chest on social media. But sometimes, a team makes a decision or a something happens that you're just so in disagreement with that you can't even get passionate about that game anymore. Or about
and that's where part of me kind of sort of understands when some of the Indians fans decided I'm never going to watch this team again if they let Lindor go. Okay, it's a little different story because money was involved and the Indians can't afford the $341 million, $347 million that Lindor just got from the New York Mets. It's a little different scenario, but no, that bothered me. So I'd like to think that at one point I was in the force, but then I decided, I'm not down with you guys anymore. I'm going to leave. So call me Darth Vader. As far as the Ohio State is concerned, I was a huge Buckeye fan growing up, and when they fired Earl Bruce, I was like, screw you guys. Only I didn't say screw you. I think I said something else far worse.
Something
and
that
said,
would get us in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, no, I'm done with you guys. That's what you've done was terrible, and I'm divorced from you.
Notre Dame has made some very questionable coaching firings in their history, too.
I don't have a problem with any of the firings that they've ever done since I...
Who was it? Lou Holtz, right? He was about to break the record.
Well, he didn't get fired. He resigned.
Okay, well, who was the coach that... There was a coach at Notre Dame, I'm just going off of my dad and the stuff he tells me, that was about to break that historic...
Eric Parsegan.
Wins record, and like, they didn't want him to break it, so they just kind of went like...
Yeah, Eric Parsegan, but I think he resigned as well. But
well, it might have been a forced resign.
Yeah,
and Lou Holtz might have been a forced resign too. Really.
Well, he never. Lou has never really been. He's walked back on the campus again. I mean, it hasn't bothered him that much. If that was a forced resignation.
Who was it? Cunningham had a couple of really good seasons, and I remember. I was young, but I remember going, why did they fire him? Because he seems to be succeeding pretty well at Notre Dame.
Yeah, there's and I have said this on a number of occasions. There's a group of people that still believe this is 1950, and Notre Dame is the greatest franchise in the history of franchises, and that's not the case. It isn't. It's not the case. Notre Dame has not won a national title since 1988. I'm of the minority of this when I say that Notre Dame should join a conference. I don't think they should be independent in football. I think they should join a conference. But, remains to be seen what happens there.
Pirates are up 2-0.
Oh! Oh, my.
Oh, my.
All righty. Who got the party started? Key Bryan. There you go. The poster child got it started. Frazier gets on a walk, and Key Bryan Hayes says, I'm going to hit one into the bleachers.
No, wait, I thought you said Frazier wasn't going to be with them for opening day. Todd Frazier.
No, Todd Frazier isn't. This is Adam Frazier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Adam Frazier is the starting second baseman. No, Todd Frazier did not make the team.
Two Fraziers.
Yeah. So when Todd Frazier didn't make the team, the ghost of Howard Cosell said, "Down goes Frazier."
Down goes Frazier.
All right, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. It is opening day. Pirates have a lead on the Cubbies, 2-0 in the top of the first inning. The Indians are down 3-0 top of the fourth to the Tigers. We'll be back after this timeout. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Save more during the Extra Mile Auto Show with employee pricing for everyone on some of our most popular models. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on the value of your trade. Schedule a test drive today to experience the 2021 lineup for yourself.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point. Happy opening day, everyone. Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, do yourself a favor, do your wallet a favor, and check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Tigers lead the Indians 3-0, bottom of the fourth inning. It is opening day, and the Buccos are out in front of the Cubs 2-0. Brian Hayes says, I will take this team and put it on my back. Thank you very much.
He says, hey!
Oh! Yeah. Key Bryant hits the third home run in Major League Baseball this year. The first one would be Mr. Miguel Cabrera hitting his shot in the first inning of today's game between the Tigers and the Indians.
It did not take long.
Gary Sanchez hit a 2-run dinger for the Yankees in the bottom of the second inning. And by the way, the league that I'm in is American League only. Gary Sanchez is my catcher. Thank you very much. Gleyber Torres, who got a hit and scored a run, he's on my team as well. Thank you very much. So we're off and running in a very good way. As a matter of fact, I believe Miguel Cabrera is on my team as well. I might be wrong on that. I'd have to look and see. But yeah, I'm off and running in a pretty good clip for my team. Being that it's only an American League team, but still. The rest of the folks at YSU, suck it. I got an early lead.
Hey, you can't win fantasy in April, but you can definitely lose it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. Minnesota and Milwaukee scoreless bottom of the first inning. And as we mentioned, the Pirates have a 2-0 lead on the Cubs in the bottom of the first inning. Chad Kuhl is on the hill for the Bucks in the opener for the Pirates against the Cubs. By the way, the Cubs, that's not a very good team this year. I wasn't that high on them to be. I had them like in third or fourth place in this division. I'm not really that high on the Cubs this year for whatever reason.
Yeah, and they're playing in a really tough division too, so that's not going to help their cause.
Yeah, I mean they could win the division. I mean, there's, as we made mention, there's 4 teams that, if everything fell into place, could win the division. St. Louis, Milwaukee, Chicago, and Cincinnati.
With that argument, there are 5 teams that, if everything fell into place, could win the division. Because everything falling into place means that everything falls into place.
Well, so. if the Pirates win the division this year, the world's coming to an end, or hell is frozen over. We're not quite sure which one. I'm going to
put like a 20 skittle wager on the Pirates winning the division, because it's probably going to it would probably get you a lot of money if it happened, and it's only $20 if it doesn't.
Well, funny you should bring this up.
20 skittles.
Let me get the odds out here.
Skittles app.
Because the odds to win the National League Central Division, I want to say it's like 30-1 to win the division. No, it's over 100-1 to win the division. Holy smokes!
So like. If they win the division, you just put $20 on it.
It's this is all based on a $100 bet. Everything's based on a $100 bet. So 100 Skittles, based on 100 Skittles, it would cost you 100 Skittles. You get back 113 Skittles if the Cardinals win the division. Not that big of a deal. 322 Skittles if Cincinnati wins the division. 378 Skittles if Milwaukee wins the division. 393 Skittles if Chicago wins the division. Take a gander how many Skittles you would win if you were to pick the Pirates.
Well, let's see. You said it was over 100-1.
Yeah.
And you're putting 100 on it.
No, actually, it would not be. I don't think it would be 100-1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would be a little closer to. I can't say the amount because then you would guess it, but it's double digits.
So it's got to be at least, I'm going to say 8,500.
No, you're a little high on that.
75?
Yeah, a little high on that.
65?
Yeah, it's a little down a little more.
So it's 4,800.
A little higher.
Oh, geez. 5,000?
There you go. Yeah. 5,000 Skittles.
So it's like 50-1 odds?
50-1 odds on the Pirates winning the division this year.
That's You'd be making 4,900 Skittles on that bet.
Yeah. Now, the AL Central, the White Sox, and I still can't believe they're still the favorite. They are actually you have to go 146 Skittles to win 100. It's actually upside down to where you have to go $146 to get $100 for the White Sox. The Twins 177. The Indians 717. The Tigers are 3,933. The Royals are 4,333. So they're like a 43.3 to 1 shot to win the division.
I'd take that.
Yeah.
On another note, did you see that South Dakota State, North Dakota State is canceled because of COVID?
Oh wow. Okay, so that's not the. There's a lot of games that are then canceled because of COVID.
And then
Missouri State and North Dakota have been canceled.
This is from Dana Ballage. So the South Dakota State and North Dakota State game are canceled. So is the UNI South Dakota game.
Yes, and so is Missouri State and North Dakota and Southern Illinois and Illinois State. All of those games have been postponed.
Well, the South Dakota UNI one, according to Dana, will not be rescheduled. So it's canceled.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because South Dakota State, their game against... they're playing North Dakota State on the 12th of April. They're going to play them on the 12th of April. So... All right, let's go to the phone lines. I believe we have the head softball coach at South Range on the line. Coach DeRosa, is that you, sir?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. We were just discussing the Missouri Valley Football Conference, but let's go South Range softball. We got a taste of what your kids are capable of doing. Sweeping Niles and annihilating Niles the second time you played them. Boy, do you got some talent back in the fold this year.
Yeah, we're pretty heavy in our sophomore class with a lot of talent. But what's nice is the fact that across the board, like 1 through even 9, can actually hit the ball out of the park. We hit like 7 home runs in our 4 preseason games, and then our first game this season against Garrettsville Garfield, our first 2 hits were home runs, and then our number 3 hitter come up and after a foul ball home run flew out at the warning track. So we're blessed with a lot of power at the plate. Niles' pitching was a little bit below average, but it's good to see them back in the league.
Yeah, can we talk about the first game and how good it felt to get back on that field after missing the spring season, but then opening the game like you did. I mean, you strand Garfield with the bases loaded in the top half of the first, and then you come in the bottom half of the first and you sock back-to-back home runs and, like you said, come dangerously close to back-to-back-to-back. What was that like for a coach to just kind of finally get to play and then start like that?
Well, finally getting to play was great, after a 1-year lapse in the league. Even the first preseason game was fantastic to be around. And, here we are 3-0 and getting ready to head south and play some very good competition. So the feeling is tremendous, actually.
You're heading south. Obviously, the competition down there, there's a reason why kids, the schools want to go south, because those kids get to play a little bit more often because the weather is a little bit better. The competition down there, it's pretty serious down there.
Yeah, it's very serious down there. The schools down there are bigger than we are, that's for sure. We always ask, like the tournament director asks us every year, how good are you guys going to be? And we tell them we're going to be better than last year. We want to play the best teams available. And we've had some barn burners down there. It's been a lot of fun. So we ask for the best schedule that we can get. And, hopefully there's going to be less teams this year. Hopefully the talent that we're going to be playing down there is going to be is equally as talented as we are.
Yeah, and you go down there and you got 5 games in 5 days, and we've talked to you with this about you before, but you have to balance having the fun trip of going to Myrtle Beach with having the business trip of playing games. What's your method in making sure the girls stay focused at Myrtle Beach for the games, but then also can have that team bonding experience that trip kind of brings?
Yeah, I mean, it's all business from probably curfew the night before we play through the game. I mean, the girls, they seem to be pretty lax and focused on softball. But, I got to be honest with you, when we get back to our condo after the games, and especially if we win, it's a very loose and fun atmosphere, and that's exactly what we want it to be. It's not all business down there. It's a bonding experience for the kids. It's good for them to be in rooms by themselves, get to know each other a little bit better, if you will, and some of them maybe not, they don't know each other as good as, I think that they do. They allow Coach Farron, myself, Coach Rowan, and Coach Roach do our thing, and they trust us, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And it's trustworthy all the way around as well, because you're getting those kids to have their own rooms. That's a trustworthy situation as well, because let's be honest, you're getting those kids away from their parents, where some of those kids might think, hey, this is going to be a party atmosphere. No, that's not the case, and that's one of the reasons why it is a trusting situation for this environment.
Yeah, it is, and like our parents are great. I got to meet and know our freshman parents this year through open gyms, since open gyms, I should say. So our nucleus of parents and the coaching staff's awesome. Love the kids. It's great. It's almost like going on vacation with your family and playing softball.
You can't talk about your softball team without talking about Bree Kohler in the circle, the future Penguin doing great things. But we haven't seen her in a South Range uniform since her sophomore year. Talk about how much she's grown since the last time that you got to coach her, and what kind of things to expect from her senior season.
She's grown a lot. I mean, you figure she's 2 years older than when the last time we had her. She learns a lot in her summer travel league, which is beneficial to Coach Farron and myself. She's become a leader, and, she doesn't hesitate to help out and cleaning up and things like that, what I've noticed this year so far. So we're very, very excited to have her back. We are expecting tremendous things from Bree this year. She's going to be one of the leaders at the plate and on the mound. What's nice about for Bree this year is the fact that she has help on the mound. So we got a couple sophomore pitchers and a junior pitcher that has good experience, and Bree will finally get a break in the circle, and hopefully she has a little bit more fun this year.
And Coach, obviously the Northeast 8, it doesn't even matter what sport you're playing. There's so much competition in that division, in that league. It's South Range. They're the smallest school, but year in and year out, they provide a stiff challenge for everyone, and this year will be no exception.
Yeah, and I think that's credited to the fact that people want to play sports here. They take lessons off season, with programs that are very successful. Kids want to play. Kids want to come out. And even with the benefit of open enrollment, I got to be honest that not every kid's a South Range kid, but they want to be at South Range. But our enrollment, we're Division III, and in our enrollment, just like we're supposed to be. And we also play up, and I know the football team does, baseball team does, when we don't have Northeastern 8 games. We're playing the likes of Stowe and Talmadge and Boardman, Austintown Fitch, teams like that to make us better.
You've already talked about the power. You've had 5 different girls hit home runs so far this season, and 5 team home runs. But you've also had everyone that's in your starting lineup have at least 1 RBI so far. Talk about this lineup and how deep it is, and how that might be a little bit different than the South Range teams that we've seen before that rely on maybe 1, 2, or 3 hitters to really get it done. Now, 1 through 9, you can have players that hit runners in.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember in the past I coach first base and always have a bird's eye view of our dugout. And I just know in the past, when we have an inning that is going to be productive, at least I think it's going to be productive, I always peek to look to see who's on deck. And in the past, I used to go, oh, man, this batter here better do something because I'm not very confident on our on-deck batter. But now I look over, and, you got the likes of Kelly Zolik, Jamie Farron, Mallory Vidman batting 7, 8, and 9, and they all can hit the ball hard. So it's wonderful to be part of that.
Coach, are you going to get a better idea of just how special this team could be based on what you guys do down at Myrtle Beach this week?
Yeah, we're going to get a really good idea down at Myrtle Beach, but you can't look past Hubbard. You can't look past Poland. All those other schools that we know are going to be very strong. I honestly don't know how Girard's going to be. I know they lost some key players. I think maybe Jefferson's going to be down and Lakeview's going to be down a little bit, but you still got to play the game. We've gotten beat by teams that weren't as good as us in the past. So, Myrtle Beach will prepare us, but, they're preparing us for the likes of Hubbard and Poland. And then when we get into the district tournament, or the sectionals first and then district, I think we'll be ready.
We talked about Bree, but we can't let you go without letting you talk about the other senior on your staff and Strakansky. She's been someone in the program that I've been watching that can do anything for you guys and does it at the drop of a hat. Talk about what she means to the program and what it means to see her get her senior season and to what you expect from her this year.
Yeah, Jillian is honestly probably one of our hardest workers. She's always doing something during the off season. She stays after practice often. If she's struggling, she stays and asks for help. She's a team leader, and she actually helps the other kids, in coaching them. We're expecting huge things from Jillian this year. She's going to play 2 different positions. She's just converted to a shortstop not that long ago because she's been a lifetime catcher, and she's doing a pretty darn good job at shortstop. We're expecting big things from her at the plate as well. And, I don't know if you guys know this, but she'll be playing next year for Marietta College. So, we're excited that we have another player besides Bree that's moving on to play college play softball at the next level.
Well, I'll guarantee you playing 2 different positions can certainly get you up the food pecking lineup come college. If she can play solid shortstop, and, oh, by the way, she's a solid catcher, Marietta is going to be really happy to have her. Absolutely.
So,
in Division III softball, there's this dark cloud that looms over everyone that's not named champion because, you kind of understand where they are and what kind of program they are. You've had your battles with them. You've won against them. You've lost against them. Talk about, from your perspective, what it's like knowing that they're there, they loom in the tournament, they're going to be someone that's there, and what it's like to be able to compete with someone like Champion that has such a dominant program and such a dynasty type of program and what it's like been going through that as a competitor with them.
Yeah, we're hoping to see Champion. We've seen Champion many times over the years, and, we do have a win against them back in 2016. It's the day, how good are you going to play that day? And, Champion started 0-2 this year, but you know what, people were like in an uproar about Champion starting 0-2, and I kind of giggle at that because I know they're going to be one of the best teams in the region. There's not even a doubt in my mind. So,
hey, Coach, we can't thank you enough for calling in. Good luck and get some sun. Get out of the Mother Nature joke of today and enjoy some warm weather and get some softball in.
Yeah, we will. We'll send you some pictures of Donnie Farron playing spike ball.
Coach, are you getting good weather down there? Because I know there have been some trips where you don't get blessed with good weather. Are you getting good weather?
Yeah, we are. I think our first game will be at 69 degrees, so we're very happy about that.
Yeah, well, pay no attention to the fact that we had snow this morning and a coating of snow.
Right now,
get out.
Yeah, get out while the getting's good. Hey, Coach, always a pleasure, sir. You got it.
Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, you got it, sir. South Range is going to be a lot of fun this year.
I mean, I'm excited to watch them go toe-to-toe with Poland in the 8 because I've seen both of them play so far this year. They both bring a lot to the table. They're both very talented in it, and it seems like every girls' sport we talk about, it's going to come down between South Range, Poland, South Range, Poland, South Range, Poland.
Let's not forget about Hubbard.
And Hubbard's going to be a solid team.
Yeah.
And I think Jefferson, even though Coach thinks they did lose Sheridan Wilbur, and that was a big part of what they were able to do last year. I think Jefferson will still have something to say, maybe throw some monkey wrenches in there, and Girard as well, because Girard has a couple of seniors that are pretty experienced in softball. So I think those teams are going to be teams that can throw a monkey wrench into some things, but I think the teams that you like that pop out at you have been South Range and Poland.
Yeah. All right, before we get out of here, Pirates scored 2 in the top of the first. They gave 1 back. Could have been a lot worse. They were able to get out of a bases-loaded jam with just 1 run allowed. So the Bucks have a 2-1 lead on the Cubs going into the top half of inning number 2. The Indians are still looking for their first run of the 2021 campaign. They are trailing Detroit 3-0 going into the bottom half of inning number 5.
Well, at least it looks like it seems that Bieber has figured it out after the tough start.
Yeah, Bieber has 9 punch-outs in 4 innings. Though he's given up 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, and the home run to Miguel Cabrera. He has thrown 72 pitches through the first 4 innings.
Yeah, I imagine they're not going to go much further than 72 this earlier in the season.
He's pitching in the 5th inning.
So 5th might be his last, you think.
On the other side, Matthew Boyd threw 83 pitches in the first 5 innings. He might be done. After 5 innings, we'll see what happens there. But Boyd went 5 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. But no walks come back to haunt him. The Indians are 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Gee, that sounds like a normal Indians team. And we'll leave it at that. We're out of here. We will talk tomorrow. And hopefully the Indians and the Pirates will both be 1-0.
We do have a loaded show for baseball coaches tomorrow. Well, I should say you do.
Indeed.
So, why don't you take? I'm gonna take a look and see who we have confirmed.
Yeah, we have
Weimer's confirmed.
Terry Dobson from Springfield at 12:05. Matt Weimer from Ursuline at 12:30. Joe Paris from Fitch at 12:45. Tim Otto from Liberty at 1:15. Those are our baseball coaches that are set to join yours truly tomorrow.
And I'm super excited because Jeff Droz promised us some pictures of Donnie Farron playing spike ball.
There you go.
I want to see it. Let's
Absolutely.
go.
Absolutely. We end as we began the show on a somber note. Our condolences to the family of Jerry McGee. He was just the best ambassador to golf in this area. And he did so much, not just for the game of golf in this area. He did a lot for a lot of people in this area. I know DJ will have some more about that when they start Power Hour coming up at the top of the hour. That'll do it for the show. Many thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll do it again tomorrow, noon to 3, Running Point.